Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. I guess we'll be here till about 9 o'clock. What do you think, Robbie? 9?
Oh, yeah. At least 9.
All right. Look at Robbie calling his shot. Says we're going to be here, might be here a little late. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, today we're going to talk about the PBC. This is a big deal, man. Signs a deal with ITV in the UK. This is real big news for the PBC, and we'll tell you why, and we'll have all the details. Beeb, our dreams have come true. The World Boxing Super Series back on track. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. But first, we get started with DAZN. Canelo Alvarez versus Rocky Fielding for the WBA super middleweight regular title.
What a fight this was.
I think the regular title is about as meaningful as that WWE belt that I have that I come on the air with, you know.
That's like the WCW television title. Remember that one?
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
TV title, the national heavyweight title, you know.
The EBU title. The European title.
That's right.
Oh God.
Canelo Alvarez, man, I tell you what, dominated and knocked out Rocky Fielding in the third round of this fight, man. Fielding was down 4 times in 3 rounds. I watched this fight a few times, and I also went back and watched Fielding's last couple of fights. And I stick to what I said last night. We had the show last night, the immediate reaction show. And honestly, I stick to what I said last night. You know, calling Fielding a bum or a tomato can, honestly, is unfair. Beeb, do you think so? Do you think he's a bum or a tomato can?
I never call any fighter a bum or a tomato can.
I don't either.
That's just me, but you know.
Right. And he's not. I don't believe he's not. I believe he's a very solid fighter. He's top 10 fighter.
No, he's a legitimate top 10 fighter.
Legitimate top 10 fighter. We all knew Canelo was going to win. They don't pick Rocky Fielding because he's dangerous.
No.
Okay? We got it. But honestly, I don't think Fielding put the kind of effort forward here that he should have. I don't think he took a dive. I just think that he got hit a couple of times and then decided he couldn't win, and he dialed it in. I really do. And I don't say that lightly. I've seen Fielding fight, and he's much better than the effort he gave last night. And this had nothing to do with Canelo. I mean, like I said, he may have gotten hurt, but to me, it just didn't look like he was putting a lot of effort into it. It looked like he wanted to do enough for Canelo to just leave him alone, you know, and I don't know, man. It just, it was real disappointing. And you know, what about all the people who paid to see these two guys show up and fight? What about the people that made the trip from UK to watch him? You know, that happens. I mean, hey, what about that? You know, he really let a lot of people down last night. And honestly, man, I don't know how he looks at himself today. I really don't. I mean, wow. I was really, by his performance, by seeing him perform in other fights. You look at him, I watched that Tyrone Zouge fight today, you know, again. And, you know, again, he's pivoting off the ropes. He's moving. Listen, I got it. I know Tyrone Zouge is not Canelo. I got it. But there was effort there. There was no effort last night. And that's the way I feel, you know. And it was so disappointing because I know Rocky Fielding is a better fighter than that. He's a legit fighter. He's a top 10 fighter. Is he champion material? Look, I don't know. That's not for me to say. Anybody can do that anytime. Last night, he wasn't. Now, as far as Canelo goes, man, he did everything he was supposed to do. He showed up to fight, and he fought. Yeah. He conducted himself like a champion. He fought like it, and took home a regular belt, which, you know, clearly means nothing because Callum Smith is the champion. But I don't know. Beeb, am I wrong to be this frustrated with Fielding's performance?
I'm not going to try and change your mind. I'm not going to try and change your mind here. I'm getting some feedback here. I don't know why. Yeah. Okay. It's gone now. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to try and change your mind here. I just think the guy froze. I'm not justifying what he did, but I just think it was too big of a stage for him. He's never been in there with this type of fighter. I thought that he had a lot of pressure on him, and I just don't think he was prepared to deal with the pressure. I stand by what I said yesterday. I don't think he went in there with the mentality that I'm going to lay down for this guy. I just think going into that ring, he was mentally defeated. Like I said, just like many Mike Tyson opponents, like Michael Spinks going into the ring against Mike Tyson, Frank Bruno going into the ring against Mike Tyson. You could see in their face that they were just intimidated so much and so caught up in the moment that they could not muster up their normal abilities. And that this is not to justify anything. But all I'm saying is I don't think the kid went in there and said to himself when he signed this fight, I'm just in there for a payday. I know that deep down in his heart, I believe he wanted to win. I just think mentally he wasn't able to muster up the wherewithal and the focus to carry through a game plan. That's just what I'm saying. Should he have, at this level, should he have that ability? Yeah, but I mean, we've seen a lot of fighters freeze up when they're on this stage like that. Even Deontay Wilder said that he was a little bit, revved up and a little bit overexcited because he said it was his first pay-per-view, and he was caught up in the moment too. Now that's not to compare that fight with this fight. Obviously, Deontay Wilder did much better than Rocky Fielding. But I'm going to stand by what I said yesterday. I just think the kid froze up. I think he was intimidated. I think he was caught up in the moment. And, even during the interviews leading up, even during fight week, you could just see that he was nervous.
Did you see it? I saw it in his body language too. During that interview they gave on DAZN right before the fight, they went into his corner and everything like that and into his dressing room.
Yeah.
And he just looked, I mean, you couldn't hear a word he said.
Yeah.
Very soft-spoken.
He just looked like...
Exuded a lot of confidence, put it that way.
Yeah, he just looked like had the feel of, what am I doing here? I signed up for something. I'm in over... He knew going in he was in over his head. They just showed... And even his own promoter was kind of talking about Canelo, and they're like, oh, it's a tough ask, but, he's got to take the fight. Like, even people around him didn't sound too confident, and they weren't really doing a good job of trying to mentally prepare him for this fight. From what I heard from people like Eddie Hearn, and I know his Jamie Moore was kind of talking him up a little bit, but they just didn't sound too convincing to me. Nobody in that camp sounded too convincing to me, least of all Rocky Fielding. So I knew what it was going to be. You knew what it was going to be. I didn't think it was going past 6, and it only lasted 3. The over/under in this fight was 7.5. The odds makers knew what they were doing here. So it is what it is.
Like I said, man, anybody out there calling Rocky Fielding, there's been a few people in their chat calling him a bum and that he's a tomato can. He's not. And he's a low-level fighter. Trust me, he's not. He's not. He's a top 10. He's a legit top 10 guy and can have a shot. I mean, again, Callum Smith knocked him out. Okay, great. Look who Callum Smith is. Does it make you a bum if you're knocked out by Callum Smith?
No, Callum Smith's arguably the best fighter in the division right now.
Right. And
the division's really not really, it's not really crazy deep. Would you say this is a deep division, 168?
No.
You got Callum Smith. You got, who else is there? I mean, James DeGale.
Somebody said that George Groves would have put up a better fight. I agree. I think so. Tommy Boxeo in the chat said that Amir Khan did better as a welterweight against Canelo, and he's right.
Yeah, he did.
He's right. At least he put up a fight. I
thought Amir Khan was winning the fight up until the point he got stopped. I know you disagree, but a lot of people agree.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. A lot of people had it. I thought Canelo was winning the fight.
Paulie Malignaggi had him up 5-1, just like me. A lot of people had him up 5-1. I think you had it 3. What did you have it? 3-2 Canelo at that point.
Something like that. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it was. I thought Canelo had done enough to turn,
And
turn.
Paulie Malignaggi was pissed at the end of that fight when he found out what the scores were leading up to the stoppage. He was basically insulting the judges.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, Paulie's good at that.
So yeah, it was pretty disappointing, man. And like I said, I mean, all the people from the UK that traveled to see him, all the people that supported him in the UK and everything, and to go out and put this kind of performance on, at least Liam Smith. I mean, we had a feeling he was going to get steamrolled, and he did.
Yeah.
But he was there to fight. I mean, you could see he was trying. And I didn't get that from Fielding. And some of the directions in his corner, I was listening to it today, trying to catch what they said in Fielding's corner between rounds. They were telling him to lean into the punches, basically. They said, if you're along the ropes, lean into his shot. And he throws a shot, lean into the shot to take that power away. And my instruction would have been, what in the world? Why are you on the rope? You should not be on the ropes against this guy.
No.
I mean, just like, what are you doing?
I think he went in there with the mentality, like thinking, no matter what I do, I'm going to be at a loss here, because he's probably saying to himself, I can't really outbox this guy. Right. So I'm just going to throw all caution into the, sort of like what Peter McNeely did against Mike Tyson. You see, he just bum rushed him and just started throwing haymakers because he knew it was either going to be him or me.
Right. At least he tried. I mean, you knew he was going to get steamrolled, but at least he tried.
Yeah. Rocky Fielding, you could tell even when he was throwing his punches, there wasn't much on his punches. Like, he wasn't really committing to his punches. He was just so nervous in there. He was so tight and tentative that he just couldn't muster up the effort, man. He just couldn't mentally put it together. It's just what it is. It is what it is. No. I know I sound like I'm defending the guy, and I'm not really defending him, but I just understand what happened. I mean, he just wasn't ready for this moment.
Right.
And that's just the way it is.
Now, Robert, let me ask you a couple of questions here, because you read the UK papers today. You said a lot of people on social media and everything are piling on this guy. What did the UK papers have to say about this fight?
They were in both the Guardian and the Daily Mail. They both the writers that covered the fight were basically all over Fielding for, well, you didn't show up with a game plan. You basically were a sacrificial lamb. You wanted your 1 million pound payday, and that's all you were concerned with. A lot of people spent money to buy tickets to go to New York to see you fight, and this is the effort you gave, and yada,
Yeah.
He got $1 million for this fight?
It wasn't pretty.
What's that?
He got $1 million for this fight, or £1 million, so that's like 1.4 million.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I think
like 1.4 million for this fight.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a nice little payday for him, man.
It's going to be his biggest payday, because I tell you what, I don't think anybody wants to see him after this. I don't care if he keeps fighting or not, but
now, Robbie,
I don't want to see him.
Are you going to give him the old classic proverbial, he needs to find something else to do, or are you ready to do that?
No, I'm
not.
No,
you're not ready to do that? You're not ready to pull the plug on this guy?
No, I'm not. Because
I'm gonna call you SSI from now on, because you retire more people than Social Security, Daddy.
Well, that would be unfair for me to do that here, because I didn't see the fight, number one.
But you read about it, though. You read about it.
Yeah, you read about it.
Do what?
You read about it.
Do what? You read about it.
I read about it, but that's not the same as seeing it. But from what Eric just said, I am concerned about his instructions in the corner. It makes me wonder what kind of trainer he's got. Now, he is a top 10 super middleweight. But
Jason doesn't think so.
I think his promoter, Eddie Hearn, I guess, put him in over his head and, just wanted to collect the payday. And now he doesn't have a belt. Hopefully he can go back to his regular division and fight people and work his way back up. But as Canelo said last night in one of the interviews I read, this opens up options for him in both 160 and 168, because he said he felt comfortable at the weight. he said he wouldn't mind fighting at both weight classes. So he said this opens up a deeper pool of fighters for me to actually choose from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. I think he can. I mean, I think he can compete at 168. I don't think he'd have a problem. I mean,
nope.
I don't know how he'd do against I don't know how he does against Callum Smith, the guy who can actually, box and may not get, spooked under the spotlight.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Canelo can do well in this division.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's not really a money division, no.
No, but again, he's got guaranteed money, so
Yeah.
I could see him eventually going up. I could see him going up here, but I can't see him at 175.
Yeah.
I don't think he's big enough for 175. I think he can come up.
No. And he even said that, Joe. He said there's no way I would ever do 175.
I would pick Canelo over George Groves. I would pick him over Chris Eubank Jr. David Benavidez. I think I would pick him over David Benavidez. I would pick him. I think he could beat. I don't think it would be easy, but I think he could possibly beat Gilberto Ramirez.
I was just going to say that. What about Gilberto Ramirez? Yeah,
I think he'd have a shot. Yeah. I don't think it would be easy, but I think he could do it. But Zerto's going up to Zerto's going up to 175.
Right.
The only real tough challenge down here is Callum Smith, in my opinion.
Well, that's why he said after the fight he's going to drop back down to 160 and defend his title in May in Las Vegas. And the most likely candidate I'm hearing is Daniel Jacobs. So we'll see.
Well, De La Hoya said in an interview that Daniel Jacobs or Triple G will not be his next fight.
Right.
That's what he said.
But that was before David Lemieux, couldn't make 160 pounds.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
So, and plus, there's probably going to be a lot of backlash. People, talking trash about this fight. Yeah. So there is some pressure on him, I would think, to put him in there with someone better,
right,
than a David Lemieux.
Right, and listen, Triple G hasn't signed with anybody.
Yeah,
he hasn't signed with DAZN, ESPN, PBC, nobody.
Like I said, if I'm them, I would try to make the Triple G fight. I think it's a good fight for them because Triple G, is looking the worse for wear now. He's starting definitely to fade a little bit.
Yeah,
he's not what he once was.
He's definitely on the slide.
He's definitely on the slide. So
Triple G, I hate the third Triple G fight though. Yeah. I don't. We've already seen it. We've already seen it twice. And like I said last night, man, you're just not going to see unless there's a knockout. We're not going to see a definitive outcome.
Well, Tommy Boxeo just said Lemieux's going to 168 according to his manager. Okay, that's fine. So
yeah. And that makes sense after what happened.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen now? Is Canelo gonna fight him? Would Canelo fight him next at 168? Or because they did say that he wants to go back down to middleweight to defend his titles.
Yeah.
So when did he win those titles? In September. So it would be May. So he possibly could fight a 168-pound fight.
Yeah, but you know what? And Canelo's at the point now, it doesn't matter anymore. He's the money guy. So it doesn't matter when he decides to defend those belts, the middleweight, super middleweight, doesn't matter. He'll defend them when he wants to, and he'll defend them against who he wants to. There is no more mandatories.
No, you're right. He's gonna have the stroke, and they're not gonna really.
Yeah,
they're not going to enforce mandatories on him. He's going to be the new Floyd Mayweather.
Right. Reese Mack in the chat just brought up a good point. Saunders is still in the, is Saunders still in the mix? Yeah, Saunders fights on the 22nd, actually next week. So yeah, he's absolutely in the mix. He's for sure in the mix.
Jason just said in the chat too. He said Jacob said that he wants Canelo at 168 also. So according to Jason, Jacobs would fight him at 160 or 168, which is interesting.
Like to see Canelo and Jacobs fight because
well, I was telling Eric that yesterday. That's the fight I want more than anything for Canelo.
I think Daniel Jacobs has done enough to deserve a shot. So
I want to see him and Charlo. That's the fight I want to see.
Really? I'd rather see him versus Jacobs.
I want to see him and Jacobs. I want to see one of those two.
I definitely want to see Daniel Jacobs.
I don't care who it is. I want to see one of those two fights happening.
Yeah, I want to see him versus Jacobs.
And I just saw an interview with De La Hoya on, it was like one of those, I think it was a radio station or something like that, that he was doing, you know how he's doing press this week or whatever. And he said that Canelo will not fight off of DAZN. So all these pay-per-views and stuff like that, he says no. He said if they want to fight Canelo, they will have to come to DAZN and do it.
Well, supposedly, I guess he's got some back-end deals with DAZN from what they were saying. I don't know exactly what they are, but
right.
And there's really no way of knowing how many people are actually watching these fights. I'm sure they can find out, but the information is not being released to us. So
I'm concerned of the viability of how long this is going to last. Like we talked about last week.
I mean, it's been around for years, though, right? How long has DAZN been around?
Not for that long, Eric. About let me double check. I want to say it's only been around for about four years. Let me Google.
I don't know. I don't know if you can continue to build a career fighting on an internet stream.
Well, look, man. I mean, here's the deal, though. I mean, does it really matter? If they give me a contract that says you get 5 fights for $50 million or whatever, I don't care how many people see me. I'm fighting fights. They're paid. I got a contract.
Yeah, this is he's got 10 more fights left at $365 million.
Yeah. Well,
DAZN was founded in July of 2015.
All right.
And I guess it was launched in Australia, Germany, Japan, Switzerland in August of 2016, and in Canada the following year.
Right.
So it's only been around for about like 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's still,
I mean, it's been around for, a couple of years or whatever. Eddie Hearn is in Matchroom. The UK is involved in it. Oscar De La Hoya just got involved in it. Those are pretty big names. I mean, no matter what you want to say, those are pretty big names.
But to Robbie's point, this is not that and you're 100% right from a fan standpoint. It doesn't matter as long as we get the fights, we get the fights.
Yeah.
We still haven't really gotten the fights yet. We got some good fights with the Super Series. The Eddie Hearn has, and the Usyk Bellew fight was not bad. I enjoyed that. That was more competitive than I anticipated. That was a good fight. So that was one good fight we got since I purchased this in September. And the Povetkin fight with Joshua, that was good too. So I'm going to say 2 good fights since I bought this in September, and it's September, October, November, December. Some of the other cards were decent. They were okay. Like you could say what you want about the Jesse Vargas, Delorme card. The fight was pretty entertaining. It was a draw. I thought it was decent. So I'm going to say I got three good cards from Eddie Hearn so far. Now, to Robbie's point, if you're giving Anthony Joshua and Canelo all the money, what incentive is there for other fighters to come on this app? Because how much money do they have left to give out? Like, is it going to make sense financially for a Danny Jacobs to come over to the DAZN or for Gennady Golovkin? I mean, how much money can they actually guarantee fighters now because of all of the money they committed to Joshua and Canelo?
Somebody said, and I don't know if it was Pugmire or who's that, Raphael from ESPN, one of those guys. I want to say it was Raphael, but I'm not 100% sure. But I remember reading, it said that ESPN or somebody reported that Canelo, or not Canelo, Triple G got the most money offered from DAZN. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to take it, but PBC offered him. PBC was courting him that week or whatever. And then DAZN, they said that DAZN offered him the most money.
DAZN put the best package together for yeah.
Right. So I don't know. And I mean, wherever Triple G goes, Danny Jacobs goes. know. So I mean, that's the other thing too.
I think you'll see Daniel Jacobs sign somewhere first because he's already being talked about for a Canelo fight.
Danny Jacobs,
not even being discussed.
Danny Jacobs has said last night in an interview that that he's with Eddie Hearn. That's what he said. His words, not mine.
He was standing right next to him with his arm around him. So
right, he said, "I'm with Eddie."
Okay.
So that means he's with DAZN.
Well, I'm just gonna say this. If you're a welterweight or a junior middleweight, or if you're a heavyweight, or Yeah, if you're a featherweight, you go at PBC. If you're a middleweight or a cruiserweight, I would advise you to go to the Zone. You know, and even and they're even starting to carve a niche at 168. Callum Smith, right? The Callum Smith.
Well, yeah. And, you're not going anywhere. I mean, honestly, you're not going anywhere. If you're a middleweight, like I said, junior middleweight, if you think you're taking the title out of the Zone, you're wrong. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Because even if you do end up fighting Canelo, I guarantee there's a rematch clause in there. There's going to be a whole bunch of stipulations.
Yeah. There's definitely a rematch clause.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is the part of boxing I hate, where we've got to discuss fighters' deals, how many fights there are, where they're going to, what platform they're going to fight on. I would much rather discuss, the possible fights and not have to worry about things like this, because we all question the PBC and how viable they were going to be. Well, I hate to say it, but they're still around. They got a new deal with Fox.
Oh, they're not going anywhere.
With ITV, they're showing that they're going to be here. I'm real skeptical on how long a fight platform on an app will be successful. I hate to be that way, but until proof is shown that people are actually going to take to this, and DAZN releases numbers to show us that, hey, look at how many people are watching our fight. I'm going to be skeptical.
Well, what does it matter if they're paying their fighters? What does it matter?
Well,
I mean, that's up to the fighters and the managers. I mean, they
I think to Robbie's point, he's saying to himself, how long is this actually going to last? Is this sustainable? Is this sustainable? Because again, like I said,
but that's where everything is going. If you think about it, you think about this. Remember, and I'll do it this way here. You remember like years ago, maybe say 10 years ago, when you went out and bought some software.
Yeah.
All right. You went out and bought some software and you could buy it right off the shelf and it's yours. You didn't have to worry about, the updates and everything like that. It was yours.
Yeah.
Now, if you go out and buy, like, say, Microsoft Office, you're not really buying Office. You buy it online.
Yeah, you buy it off like the cloud
subscription.
Yeah, you're right.
Not whatchamacallit, Adobe has the same thing with their graphic tools and everything like that. It's all on subscription.
That's correct. Yeah, you're right.
And that's the way it's going. And so it would just stand to reason that this is the way. Look at Netflix and how that took off.
But here's my counter argument to that, Eric. I agree with you to a point, but why throw all your eggs in one basket? Like, Showtime does have a streaming app. ESPN does have a streaming app, but they still have terrestrial television as well. Like, there's just something about, for me, and I don't know about anyone else, and this is going to sound stupid to some, there's just something about pay-per-view to me. It's like boxing Super Bowl. Like that Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight, even though I had to pay for it and it wasn't part of a subscription that cost $10 or $9.99 or whatever, it just has that Super Bowl type, that novelty type feel. Because think about it. How many pay-per-views did we actually really buy a year? Like one or two of them. So it's like twice a year. It's like those are Super Bowl special events. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of nice to watch something on TV. I just think, to me, I like the DAZN a lot. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But the quality is still not the same as a television. Like every now and then I still get a buffer. You know what I mean? And you're not going to get the top-notch announcers on DAZN. Like you got Sugar Ray Leonard there, whatever, but that something about that just does not look like it's not like a top-notch production right now.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk before we go any further into that. I think that you brought up a good point. We've got a good segue here. It's time. Elena, come on over here for our train wreck of the week.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Beautiful.
Good job, Lanes.
Beautiful. I just want you to know.
Better every week.
All right.
And I say that everywhere. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, you get better every week. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, you continue to improve. What can I say?
That's right. Those voice lessons doing wonders for you. All right. So our train wreck of the week is the Disowned Broadcast. Not some of them. Not half of them. All of them. The entire broadcast crew needs to be completely wiped out and revamped. Every single one of them. Let's start it off here. All right, let's start with that LZ Granderson. Does anybody know where this guy came from?
I have no idea.
I don't know where he came from.
He's the worst.
This idiot comes on there and tells a story about Ryan Garcia dating an actress. Does anybody care about that? You know, nobody I don't care if Ryan Garcia dated an actress and what his mother thought. The story fell flat. It didn't go anywhere. And I'm like, why are you even on TV at this point?
He's 20 years old.
Jason said he's from ESPN.
I don't know how he got the gig. I don't know if he was a custodian over at ESPN or what.
John Skipper hired him.
Jesus. Wow, he is just terrible. He's terrible. Let's talk about Kay Adams, the one who looked like she was dressed for a nightclub last night, hangs all over everybody. Everybody she's talking to, she like hangs all over, you know. She was
the British one, right?
No.
No.
She was going on and on about Anthony Joshua walking past her. You know, she seems flirty to everyone. She says stupid things. And now I'm getting a death stare from my wife, you know, because she thinks I'm a sexist already.
Hey,
I'm not.
You didn't call her a cupcake or a Twinkie or
I didn't call her a cupcake or anything like that.
Or a Susie Q. You didn't call her anything like that. So
that's right. You know, listen,
you were restrained.
If they want to hire, if they're bent on hiring girls over there to broadcast, take those ESPN girls. They take it seriously. They do their job. Maybe not. No.
Christina
I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Christina Poncha is good.
What's that?
Christina Poncha is good.
Yeah. I mean, somebody aside from this nightclub chick, you know. Chris Mannix, he's okay, but he's got the personality of a wet mop. You know, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think of Chris. What do you guys think of Chris Mannix?
He's okay, but he's just like he's interviewing Joshua and he's like he's interrogating him. Like, I don't know. I just think he's got to be a little bit more eloquent with his delivery.
Writer than he is an interviewer.
Yeah,
I agree with that 100%. I mean, you know,
he asks questions that fans would ask, and I know you're supposed to, you know, have the vibe of, you know, have the pulse of the fan when you're interviewing because you want to get the popular opinion out there. I get that, but you gotta have a better delivery system than some of the you know questions he asks. You gotta just do it better, I think.
Well, and it's not even like, to me, I mean, he was trying to ask those questions, but like Jim Gray asking those questions is a little bit different than Chris Mannix asking those questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jim Gray seems to try to corner people to get an answer, and Chris Mannix just, okay, that's fine. All right. He needs to stick to writing or something like that. TV is just not his gig, man. Maybe he'll get better. I don't know. The worst segment, I think it might even be in television history, was Hack and Barack, or what is his name? Akin Barack?
Akin Barack, yeah.
Akin Barack, okay. Their big contribution to the show last night was doing a Queer Eye skit by dressing up Canelo. All right, they bought a bunch of clothes in there. What is this? What am I watching? What am I watching? I mean, really, what am I watching here? Let me ask you something. What kind of grown man buys clothes for another grown man? And then ask him to try them on? What are you doing?
I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not going to answer that question.
Listen, we got two dudes in
here. I'll let Robbie answer that question. Robbie, answer that question for Eric.
Touch that one, okay?
He's done too.
Even Robert wouldn't even touch that one.
Doesn't even want to touch it. Ask Lisa that question.
Yeah, right. I mean, what is this? I mean, what kind of skit was this?
Yeah, it was corny.
They bring in a lot of clothes. Oh, Canelo's my man. And they walk into his house with these two things of clothes or whatever, these two like strips of clothes.
That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know.
I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bought this for you, Canelo. What do you think? I picked this out for you, bro. What are you, stupid? What is wrong with you guys? What are you,
Eric?
Friend? I mean, seriously, what are you,
Eric?
You know,
What about that corny segment when they had all the fighters trying to pronounce the zone? They were calling it Dazin and all that stuff. Like everybody knows how to pronounce it, but you know what I'm saying? It's like so corny.
Let me go back to my original point. Eric is complaining about the broadcast, and it sounds like it needs to be complained about. But how do you get a Jim Lampley? How do you get a Roy Jones?
You just pay him.
Come over to an app.
It's easy. You just pay him.
You know.
Simple, just like any other job. You pay them. You put money down, and they take it, and they come and announce.
I mean, hell, they were able to make an exclusive deal with Michael Buffer. You know,
Akin Barak used to be on the radio. Jason said Akin Barak used to work for 50 Cent's website, but they also used to be on.
I know that Jason would know the answer to that. How did I know that Jason would know all about Akin Barak?
Well, because Jason doesn't have a life. Okay.
Wow.
Whoa, he's gonna. Wow, I can't wait for Jason to rebuttal that one when he calls in.
I mean, let's be honest, guys. He spends all week going over the internet looking up for PVC stuff, and whenever we ask questions, he's the only one that comes up with the answer.
Wow,
Robbie,
deep, son.
You are on him like you are on him like nobody's business.
Wow, Robbie just went deep on him, son.
I'm concerned.
Wow. You know, and then Sugar Ray Leonard, that other fool from ESPN, whoever that is, you know, get rid of them both, man. Sugar Ray is terrible on the mic. Listen, I love Sugar Ray as a fighter. I know you do too, Beeb. That other moron is terrible too, whoever the guy from ESPN. Who is it?
Oh, Brian Kenny. It pains me to criticize Sugar Ray Leonard because I have so much respect for the guy and he's my favorite fighter.
Yeah.
But this is how unbiased I am when I analyze things. He's a horrible commentator. Horrible.
Yeah.
Ray, what do you think of this? And they ask him a question looking for an analytical breakdown of what, you know, of what they asked him. And all he can say is, "Oh, he's beautiful. Oh, he's great." Like
so general. It's
like he generalizes everything.
I know he's a good boxer. He's top 10. He's fighting on TV. Yeah, he's a good boxer. What else?
Ray, you know, he's fainting and he's going downstairs. What do you think of that move? Beautiful. You know? He's great.
It was terrible, son. He was horrible. That I tell you what, that Akin Barak segment, that was awful. I just
was very painful.
The worst nonsense I'd ever seen.
They actually have that as a segment on DAZN. Like
dude, let me tell you what.
It's actually video. It's an actual video on DAZN.
Yeah, let me tell you what. You two morons must need money real bad. All right, because coming short of washing Canelo's clothes, I mean that was as embarrassing as I've ever seen it.
They might as well have just jumped in the kitchen and started frying them eggs and bacon.
Might as well. Yep.
Flip them some Flip them some flapjacks.
And how in the world do they communicate with him? Because Canelo doesn't speak English, at least on camera.
I don't know. I mean,
you know what?
I guess he spoke a little bit of English. I guess.
You know what I'm noticing now too is when they do interviews now, the fighter will answer, but like the original question's not translated anymore. What's going on now? Like the interviewer will ask a question, and the fighter will answer it, and then the translator will translate the answer, but he's not translating the question. How are they getting the questions now? I'm a little confused with that. You notice? You guys notice that?
No, I haven't noticed that, to be honest.
Watch when they interview people now. Like they'll ask a question in English, and the fighter will answer it in Spanish, and then the answer is translated, obviously, but the question is not being translated originally. So it's almost like they have like a mic in their ear or something. I don't know. It's weird.
It's insane. All right, let's talk about the rest of the card here. Tevin Farmer versus Francisco Fonseca for the IBF Junior Lightweight title. Didn't Tank have this title and he ate his way out of it or something like that, or he was overweight?
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Pretty one-sided fight here. Fonseca was trying, but he wasn't as skilled as Farmer.
No, Farmer did very well. Farmer is very disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a really, really dynamic fighter, man.
Yeah, 117, 111 on all three cards. Yeah, he was good. He was good. I still don't think he beats Tank though.
Yeah,
I think that's actually a pretty one-sided fight, honestly. I don't think he comes close to beating.
I don't think he hits hard enough. He's a sharp puncher, but
yeah, but he's not going to hurt Tank.
Yeah, he's gonna have to because Tank's gonna come at him, and Tank doesn't stop him. Like I've never seen Tank hurt yet. That's what I'm curious to see. What happens when Tank gets hurt? Will he be able to come back from adversity?
Except Mayweather's too busy to get Tank a fight. That's the other thing. And Tank did fight Francisco Fonseca, and I think ended up knocking him out or stopping him in the 8th round.
Yeah.
But again, it's two different styles, man. I understand that, like, you're going to make the comparison with Loma, and you're going to make.
Farmer's a good counterpuncher, though. He's a very good counterpuncher. He's very slick. He moves well. He's great at creating space, and he's got a great jab. He gets in and out. He's very slick and crafty. So I think the Tank fight's very intriguing. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'd watch it. Don't get me wrong. Friend of the show, Saddam Ali versus Mauricio Herrera. Some people were critical of Saddam Ali here, but I think he fought a smart fight. I thought it was a good comeback fight for him.
Yeah.
Murked by Munguia. He won a unanimous decision, 100-90, 99-91, and 98-92. I mean, I don't know how you can be critical of that, but it is what it is.
Well, I thought he did fine.
Yeah. Ryan Garcia versus Braulio Rodriguez. They put a lot of hype behind Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, they do.
Got a lot of hype behind him. And what was it? Kay Adams, that other one, Kay Adams or whatever, apparently said that apparently somebody said he was an Abercrombie and Fitch model, like anybody cares. And said that, they were just going on about a social life, I guess. I don't know. But he won. Well, I think it was a 5th round KO, wasn't it, Beeb? I think it was a 5th round KO.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He just looked okay to me. I got to be honest, man. He's got a long way to go before they start. They're putting a lot of pressure on this kid early.
Yeah.
And he's got a long way to go. He should have had that kid out of there. He should have had that guy out of there in the 2nd or 3rd round. He had him hurt. I think it was in the 1st round he had him hurt, or the 2nd round he had him hurt.
Well, when you listen to him talk,
mm-hmm.
he's in no rush himself.
No.
He's in no rush. He's happy doing fighting the caliber of guys he's fighting right now.
Yeah. And I think that's what he needs to do.
He's only 20 years old.
Right.
Let's not rush him, man.
No, I agree. He's actually a breath of fresh air, because you see these kids that want to, fight the top 10 guys right away, and they end up getting ruined early in their career. Let's build this guy slow, I guess.
I agree, because I think he's got a lot of potential. I don't think he's there yet. The way they talk about him, like he's going to be the next big thing, and he's this, he's that. I think, man, you need to slow it down.
Give it another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
he's not ready for like prime time or anything like that. I mean, you need to really, if you're really interested in this kid's career, then what you need to do is just groom him, take him slow. Put him in there with some different styles.
I think it's good that they keep putting him in the ring, and so I like what they're doing there. But don't rush him.
I mean, he just started fighting in the 10 rounders this year, so
legendary. My God, yeah. So Jason in the chat just said Teofimo would retire Ryan Garcia. Yeah, you think? I mean, come on, that's a mismatch. Don't be silly.
We're into real fights, not mismatches. Come on.
Katie Taylor versus Eva Wahlstrom. Katie Taylor easily won over Eva Wahlstrom. I think it was a unanimous. I don't know. I didn't catch the scores. Anthony Joshua was on the broadcast also. He was commenting on a couple of fights. I think it was the Tevin Farmer fight, I believe. And he talked about Deontay Wilder and stuff. I guess he talked to him about Chris Mannix and everything, or with Chris Mannix rather. He, what he said kind of made some sense. He was talking about the pay-per-view, and he says, because they said they were going to offer Wilder a flat fee to fight, and then they were going to offer some options with it, like incentives, I guess.
Yeah.
And he said, well, and I think it was Mannix asked him, well, doesn't he deserve more than that, just a flat fee? And he says, yeah, he does. And he's right. He does. I think, you can criticize Wilder's resume, but you can't criticize it now. You can't really criticize it now. He's fought the big guy. And it's tough to say that, he's fought nobodies and this and that now. His resume can't really be in question now that he fought Fury.
Well, here's the thing. He's going to be 34 soon. I thought he lost his last fight. Most people did.
Yeah.
So now they're saying to themselves, we got to strike while the iron's hot with this guy. because someone's going to beat him, you know. And the bigger fight, honestly, worldwide, is Joshua Wilder. That's a bigger fight. Maybe not in the UK, but worldwide, like it's a bigger fight because it's going to get some great attention. And now, if that fight is on pay-per-view in the United States, that fight could probably do 600,000 pay-per-view buys in the United States. If Fury Wilder did 325 or 350 or whatever they say, and it did, which Joshua Wilder do in the United States pay-per-view wise? And then
Joshua Wilder does close to 800.
Wilder Joshua, you think 800? Okay, I'm just being conservative. Conservative, at least.
It's a pay-per-view fight, though. I think it takes place on DAZN if it takes place, because what Joshua said was he started talking about the pay-per-view because he said, well, they did about 320 or 300,000. He said, and he says, yeah, but break it down. How much did he get out of that?
Well, how much do you get out of your purses, Joshua? I mean,
right. But the point is what he's saying, we can pay you just as much, if not more, to fight on DAZN. We don't need the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I got out of it.
Okay.
And it makes sense. And if they can offer him that much money, and if they can offer him those kind of incentives and everything like that, then why not make the fight then? You know, why not make the fight on DAZN? We don't need a pay-per-view.
You gotta have a heavyweight unification fight though on United States pay-per-view. I
mean, why?
You really do.
Why? That's silly. Why?
Like Beeb said, it's for us boxing fans, it's a Super Bowl event. I mean, come on.
So do you want to pay money for the Super Bowl?
But here's the problem, though, Eric. Wilder doesn't have a contract with Showtime, but he's very loyal to Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna want to deal with Showtime. He's gonna want this fight to be on pay-per-view. He's not gonna want to fight on his own.
No, then he might not get the fight. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the long and short of it. Just like if you want to fight Canelo, but you want to fight him on pay-per-view, you're not going to get it.
And we don't really know Joshua's situation like this. Like, it really hasn't been said that he has an official contract with DAZN. Like he works with DAZN.
Yeah.
But they've never said, oh, he's got a 5-year,
Right.
So I don't think he's bound to fight on DAZN either. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't believe he has an official locked-in contract with DAZN. You know, we see Clarissa Shields fight on DAZN. See other fighters fight on DAZN, but then they fight on Top Rank. They fight on ESPN. So, you know, I think the only fighter that has, you know, that is exclusively bound to DAZN is Canelo, to my knowledge.
Right. I don't know.
Because we've heard Eddie Hearn say on numerous amount of occasions, you know, even if I have you under contract, if you can get a higher payday fighting on Showtime or HBO or whatever, or ESPN, then I'm not going to stop you from fighting. You don't have to fight all your fights on DAZN if you can get a better deal somewhere else. He said that. So
yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting, man. And I think, like I said, man, when you talk about these apps, you know, DAZN, ESPN Plus, and stuff like that, will this just further complicate the situation with the best fighting the best? You know, I don't know.
I have a feeling it will.
Yeah,
it will. I think it really will.
If I can pay $10 a month to watch a fight versus $79 for one fight, I know which route I'm going. For the same fight, I mean, it makes no sense why you would want to pay $80.
No, you're right.
That's what we've always done.
You're right, Eric.
I mean, does it give you a fuzzy feeling to pay that money and get the same amount? It doesn't make any sense to me.
But it just, to me, it just has that it has that special feeling, like that Super Bowl type feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
And again, it makes no sense from a common sense standpoint.
Right. No, I get it.
I can't explain it from a common sense standpoint because I'm the cheapest son of a bitch on the planet. But when it comes to like boxing, I always buy pay. Like I bought Roy Jones versus Bobby Gunn, folks. You have to be a sick son of a bitch to pay for that pay-per-view.
Bobby Gunn, friend of the show.
Yes.
World champion, undefeated.
But I paid for that.
Yeah, I would have paid for it too, Beeb.
Did I buy more?
Don't beat yourself up over that one.
You had the option to pay for it. Me and Eric were out of luck because
Right.
he didn't have it. So.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if Jason, I can't remember if I bought Mosley Mayorga.
I don't think I did. No, I don't think I bought that.
I don't know if I bought that. I can't remember.
Tommy Box say listen to LOL Jones versus Gunn.
That was crazy. I bought that fucking pay-per-view. How much was that? Like $20, I think.
Something like that.
It was sad.
Something like that. I think it's.
Hey, I miss it. I miss the days of Don King's heavyweight explosion pay-per-views.
All right. What about the revenge or rematches? The revenge or repeats or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that was sick,
Come
man.
on. No,
One of the best fights you're ever going to see.
You cannot have a major fight anymore, in my opinion, without getting pay-per-view involved.
No, I disagree with that completely.
Well, you can disagree all you want, but that's the way I feel.
You're wrong. All right, let's go to ESPN Plus. Gilberto Ramirez versus Jesse Hart. Ramirez wins a majority decision over Jesse Hart, 114 all, and then 115, 113 twice. You know, I saw the highlights of this fight. I didn't see the fight, but a lot of people said that Ramirez won easily, and most of the people the things I read and everything like that had it a little bit wider. Beeb, what did you think of this fight?
I had it 116, 112 for Ramirez. I thought that maybe the first and the third were swing rounds, but I gave them to Ramirez. I just thought that Jesse Hart would do something good. He'd land a good combination, but he would just stand there and he would like Tim Bradley said, he would back up straight instead of turning, instead of stepping off to the side. He would just back up straight, and Ramirez would just follow him out and get that get back right away. So he would just take the momentum right from him. And Ramirez has a good jab when he uses it, and he has a really good straight left from the outside when he uses it. But a lot of times he leans in, trying to work himself in. But once he gets in there, he is a real fluid combination puncher. He has a way of just finding a home for his punches. He has a real sophisticated delivery system. He'll throw that right hook to the body, and then he'll just come right up, just thread the needle and come right up with the uppercut. And he just really is so skilled at changing up the trajectory of those punches and just looping them just enough on the inside to get through and get around the guard. Jesse Hart, the big problem with him was he just doesn't have enough power to stop Ramirez from coming forward, and he just doesn't have enough pop to really hurt Ramirez to the point where he can back him up or stop that forward momentum and take the wind out of his sails. So Jesse Hart had some good moments in this fight from rounds 8 to 11, partly because Ramirez hurt his right, I think it was his left arm he hurt, so he couldn't throw his straight left. But when you look up champion in the dictionary, that's Gilberto Ramirez, because the way he finished that 12th round, oh my God, this guy, you could visibly see he was having problems with his left hand, and he couldn't throw it, so he's just throwing punches with his right hand. And it was amazing watching him just throw all caution into the wind and throwing double hooks and coming up underneath with the right hand, throwing uppercuts. I don't know what they told Jesse Hart in the corner, but it was almost like he took the round off until the last 15 seconds, and that's when he started, getting in Ramirez's chest and landing some short uppercuts on the inside himself. But the way Ramirez, after losing rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, the way he came back in that 12th round, saying to himself, I am not going to let this title slip away from me, that showed a lot of guts and heart, and that was probably one of the most gutsiest things I've ever seen, because I think he's hurt that left hand severely, because you could see him wince every time he threw it, and he just really couldn't snap it out there anymore. And for him to hang in there, where a lot of fighters, some fighters probably would have pulled him, like, no disrespect, but Vitaly Klitschko, he hurt his shoulder in the fight with Chris Bird. I think he stopped in the 9th or 10th round, and he was way ahead in that fight, but he was in so much pain that he couldn't continue. I can only imagine how much pain Gilberto Ramirez was in, and stayed in the fight. Not only stayed in the fight, but came back in that 12th round and won it in dominant and impressive fashion. You could see him biting down on his mouthpiece, gritting it out there. You could tell he was uncomfortable, but he fought through that discomfort and that pain. And that was an excellent performance for him. I thought he had a great start. Like I said, you could arguably, if you wanted to, you could give Jesse Hart the first and maybe the third if you wanted to. But even then, it's still a draw. But I didn't feel compelled to give him the first and the third round just because what's that goofball? The guy that we don't like on there. The hell's that guy's name?
Oh, Kriegel.
Kriegel. Yeah, just because Kriegel did it, I wasn't going to do it.
He's another one.
So I had it 116 to 112. I thought Ramirez won the first 7 rounds. I gave Hart 8, 9, 10, 11. And then Ramirez showed the true grit and heart of a champion and came back in that 12th and finished the fight with a bang. He went out in style. So I thought it was a great performance. I thought it was a really great performance.
Yeah. Now also two fights down under in New Zealand. Joseph Parker versus Alexander Flores. It wasn't televised, and it was a pay-per-view in New Zealand. Go figure this one out. It was a pay-per-view. I think it was like $39 New Zealand money, I guess. And Parker wins by 3rd round KO over Alexander Flores. Flores had no business being in there with Parker. It was a brutal KO. It was brutal. He had zero business. I have no idea who made that fight. I tell you what, what's even worse than it was on pay-per-view. That was terrible for those guys. Notorious VC, thank you so much. Listen, man, can Corey Lee come on and finish his story from 2 weeks ago?
Absolutely.
No. Absolutely. I will write you a check. All right. He is not coming back on here and finishing that story from 2 weeks ago.
How about this? How about I do this for you, Notorious? Back with another banger.
Tommy Boxeo said,
Corey Lee does his own podcast. If you want to hear the end of the story, listen to his own podcast.
Wow, Robbie.
Tommy Boxeo says, what happens to Corey Lee's story? Absolutely nothing happens in it. He just goes off on a tangent every different way, and he never finishes the story. So,
and he was loaded to the gills, from what I understand.
Wow, I didn't say that. I'm just saying,
Yeah, but he brought up some old memories of Boston, Roxbury. I started thinking a New Edition. Candy girl, oh my world, I need your love each and every day. Well, that was beautiful, man.
New Kids on the Block will be part of the Dick Clark celebration on New Year's Eve. So there you go.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Please don't go, girl.
That's Beeb's boys right there.
No world.
Who was your favorite New Kid, Beeb? Who's your favorite New Kid? You like Mark Wahlberg? Was he a New Kid?
No, he wasn't on there. That was Donnie. Donnie was.
Donnie Wahlberg. That's okay. Donnie Wahlberg. You like that dude? That's your boy.
What's the guy's name? Justin or something? The guy that began. I think it was Justin. I like the Justin guy, or the Jonathan guy. I'm trying to remember that guy's name with the dark hair.
Justin is in sync, Beeb.
No, not him. Not Justin Timberlake. The other guy. Yeah. Again with a J. Or Jonathan something. Jonathan Knight. Jonathan Knight. Yeah, Jonathan Knight was his name.
That was your boy. That was the boy. He wanted to be like he had posters of New Kids on the Block on his wall. He's like, I want to be like that dude there.
Donnie Wahlberg was okay. He was like a backup guy.
Was he? I thought he was like with him, man. I thought
he was with them, but he never took the lead. Jonathan Knight and there was the other guy there, the young kid. I forget what the young kid's name was. He had the high-pitched voice. He was awesome.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I forget all their names. That's pretty sad. I remember New Edition's name, like Ralph, Bobby Brown, Johnny Gill.
Reminded on New Year's Eve.
Jordan Knight was his name. I'm sorry. Jordan Knight. That was the guy. I like him.
Beeb's Clay Aiken's #1 fan.
Jordan Knight. I want to tell you a story, right? Real short, because I don't want to ruin the flow of the show. I was at a light back, I think it was 1990, 1991. And I had the Backstreet Boys on playing, right? And I was just jamming to the Backstreet Boys. I'm at a light and I'm show me the meaning of being lonely. I'm sitting there bopping my head. I'm singing to it. And these girls look over at me. And I look over at them and they just go like this. They shake their head like, what the fuck is this kid doing? They're like, you can tell that I wasn't picking up any chicks if I'm blasting that music, man.
Wood in the chat just said, I hate to point this out, it's Jordan Knight. He knew who you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I said, Jordan Knight. I corrected myself. I forgot his name.
He knew exactly who you were talking about. He must have been a New Kids fan too.
Yeah, he remembers. Thank you, Wood.
That's funny, man.
They're actually going on tour pretty soon.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're touring right now.
Jesus. Robbie, how about that? A twin bill with New Kids and the Jonas Brothers. You going to that?
Yeah,
that's your boys, right? The Jonas Brothers.
Joey McIntyre was the young kid. He had the high pitched voice.
I don't know. Everybody knows this. I bet you call Ak and Barak, they could give you the whole band thing and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
I bet they know it. But they know it back and forth. All right.
Anyway.
All right. Let's talk about the upcoming schedule here. December 22nd. Robert, Saturday? No?
Yep. And that's, you're going to talk about the Fox card, right?
No, I'm going to talk about the ESPN Plus card. So you see, this is why I got the stuff in front of me. You know what I'm saying? All right. December 22nd, Saturday from Manchester, England on ESPN Plus. Josh Warrington versus Carl Frampton, the Jackal. 12 rounds for Warrington's IBF featherweight title. On the undercard, Michael Conlon. Yeah, Michael Conlon versus Jason Cunningham. 8 or 10 rounds. Hasn't been decided yet. I don't know. Featherweights. My boy, Martin Murray versus Hassan Andam. 10 or 12 rounds middleweights. My boy also, Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe versus Zoltan Serra. 10 rounds super middleweights. Patty Barnes also on that undercard as a flyweight. Tommy Fury on that undercard as a light heavyweight. I think that's Tyson Fury's brother, no?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
All right.
It is.
Now, from New York, same night on Fox and Fox Deportes. Jamal Charlo versus Willie Monroe Jr. 12 rounds for Charlo's WBC interim middleweight title. What is an interim middleweight?
That's like the worst title. That's worse than the regular WBA title.
That is.
Jamel Charlo versus Tony Harrison. 12 rounds for Charlo's WBC junior middleweight title. On the undercard, and we'll get to this in a minute, Dominic Brazil versus Carlos Negron. 10 rounds heavyweights. Terrell Gachet versus Joey Hernandez.
Wow.
8 or 10 rounds junior middleweights. Rancis Bartholomew.
Wow.
Versus Robert Frankel. 10. This card's stacked, son.
Wow.
F.A. Ajagba. This is the heavyweight. I remember seeing him. Is that one dude? The big dude? You know who I'm talking about? Ajagba?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, wow.
That's the one that Curtis Harper walked out of the ring on?
I didn't even see this. Wood, I know you're listening, man. Ajagba is fighting Santino Turnbow from Ohio, Cincinnati. 4 to 6 rounds heavyweights. I can't wait to see that fight, man. Matt Korobov versus Juan DeLay. No, that fight I think is scratched here. Yeah, that fight. I tell you what, I wonder if there's a way we can watch that like the full card. I don't know.
It might be on FS1. Who knows?
I don't know, man. I don't know. This is why I like apps, though. This is why I like the apps.
What card are you gonna watch? You gonna watch the Dillian White Chisora card, or are you gonna watch the Frampton card?
Let's see here.
Which card you more interested in?
From DAZN also. All right, now from DAZN. Dillian White versus Derek Chisora. Rematch, 12 rounds heavyweights. Christopher Rosales versus Charlie Edwards, 12 rounds for Rosales' WBC flyweight title. Joshua Buatsi on the card versus Reynold Quinlan. And David Price versus Tom Little.
What card do you like better? I kind of like the Frampton card a little better. I don't know.
Yeah, the Frampton card's much better. Frampton card's much better. It's stacked.
Yeah.
Obviously the PBC card is stacked more than any of them, but let's talk about that. Let's see if there's any more fights. Let's see here. No, there's no more fights this weekend. Let's talk about that PBC card real quick. So Willie Monroe Jr. tested positive for elevated levels of testosterone. All right. He got popped by VADA, and I believe he's out. I don't know that it's official yet, though, but I believe he's out. And they're talking about making Matt Korobov and Jamal Charlo the main event there.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Well,
I
either
think.
way, I think Charlo wins.
Yeah, I think that I like the Willie Monroe fight better, honestly, than the Korobov fight. I'm not real crazy about that. But yeah, so he popped for testosterone. Friend of the show, Willie Monroe. How about that? So I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know how because there's talk that he may stay, but I think Korobov's already agreed to the fight. But they're going to see what happens. So, incidentally, he was fighting. Matt Korobov was on the undercard fighting Juan de Angel, 8-round super middleweight. So,
he's got to peel off 8 pounds in like a week. That's
right.
That sucks.
Well, he's got to peel off more than that because he's coming in heavy. I mean, he's going to cut weight to 168 for weigh-in, so he's got to cut more weight for that. So I don't know.
Sucks.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to give him I wonder if they're going to just give him a title shot and have him make the weight, or just have it be a non-title and have him come in at 160.
They should just have it like in a catch weight non-title. They should have it a catch weight of 164 or something to be fair to him.
Right.
Fucking, it's dangerous having to lose all that weight in 1 week. I mean, come on.
Go through what David Lemieux went through last night.
Yeah. What happened? I mean, I heard like when you cut that much weight, like your kidneys have a tendency to shut down and everything like that. And that's why I don't know what his circumstance was, why he was rushed to the hospital, but
well, he was tremendously dehydrated, and they ended up having to put him in the hospital.
Yeah. Notorious VC in the chat said, I thought Willie popped for something, and he did. He testosterone.
Jason said that fighters lose way more than 8 pounds in 1 week all the time.
Yeah. They do, but
possibly. But let's look at how old Korobov is. He's like 34 years old, I believe. He's getting up there in age. It's harder to do it when you get up there in age. I mean, at some point you hit the wall. Like David Lemieux, he hit the wall, and look what happened to him. He's in the hospital. So,
well, not only that. I mean, you got to think about, he's shooting for 168, so he may be 175 right now. I mean, he could
probably be like 173ish or something. I would assume
there. But he's still got, and he's got a certain amount of weight he's going to lose before next week. Now he's got to double that.
Yeah, so he's probably got to lose 13 pounds, not 8.
If this is the case.
Yeah.
If that's the case and they want to make it a title fight, or he wants to make it a title fight, that's a big ask.
I mean, what happened at that UFC weigh-in when the person fainted and they had to be rushed to the hospital too? Remember that one?
Canceled.
Yeah, they had to cancel the fight.
They can't let him fight.
This is no joke. They had to rush him to the hospital and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Terriano Johnson is in New York. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't happening. Yeah, it's either gonna be Korobov or I don't know that it would be.
That would actually be a better move to fight the guy like Toriano Johnson.
Yeah, I agree. It would be a better move, but it ain't gonna happen. So
he's already ready. He's already
right. All right, let's see here. Let's go to the phones.
Well, so we don't.
Go ahead. What?
I'm sorry. So we don't really know what all we know is Willie Monroe's levels were elevated. We don't know. They didn't tell us what drug he took or what drug that was in his system.
No. Okay. So his levels were elevated. They give you some wiggle room there. Yeah, they give you some wiggle room, and Las Vegas, I think, gives you the most.
Yeah, they're like they give you a 6-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, it's something crazy that
everyone else is like 4-to-1, and Vegas is like 6-to-1.
Right, and so if they're elevated, there's something going on there.
Yeah, there's something.
And you've never tested positive for anything else. I mean, come on, man, you're doing something that you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to blame it on supplements or whatever the case may be. But, the bottom line is his camp, Willie Monroe, he's had a lot of problems in his camps before. This is nothing new. Maybe not him personally, but his trainers. I mean, they've had issues in that camp before. So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. I hope, it doesn't sound like he's going to fight. It sounds like Korobov is going to be in that fight. And I don't know if that's official or not.
Yeah, it's not official yet.
if it's not, I have a feeling it will be in just a day or so.
Yeah, you could be right.
Yeah. So.
Could be right.
All right, Beeb, it's that time.
The zone. The zone.
He's a fucking mental case, is what he is.
Robbie.
What's going on, guys? How do you guys not know Hawk and Barack? Haven't you guys missed like?
I know who they are.
We know who they are.
We know who they
We know who they are. They suck.
No, I know, but I'm saying like last 2 years before they got into the zone, they used to do boxing interviews like every week on that. This 50.
They had a boxing show on the radio.
Wilder were pretty good.
Right, they suck.
They had a boxing show on the radio.
Yeah, they suck, but cringy. But they're probably trying to try something different. But John Skipper's like a progressive guy. He's the one who brought Jamel Hill to ESPN and Leslie Granderson. He's always bringing those token fucking hires and shit that kind of suck. But
so anyway. they decided to try something different by bringing a guy a bunch of clothes to try on that they picked out for him.
Yeah, but
that was the deal.
That video just to give you a little background. That video has like no negative comments at all. Like literally every comment is positive. Like Mexican fans saying, "I like this. This is kind of cool. We're gonna get to none of that." So I don't like it, but Mexican
something's
fans
uncomfortable.
Like, who cares? Boy used to do shit like that all the time on All Access, dude. He used to take Showtime cameras to fucking shopping sprees every fucking night. I mean, it's the same kind of shit. That's what they're copying, right?
I don't know. I don't know,
Jason.
It would be like, let's go shopping, and fucking 30 bodyguards are following him at the fucking mall and shit, like fuck Showtime. That's what he used to do all the time. But Torino Johnson, man, he makes perfect sense. He's an Al Heyman fighter. He was
I agree.
And he's out. He's on weight. Isn't he 160? Yeah, he should fight Charlo. I don't know why. Maybe unless him and his coach Andre Rozier turned that down. Otherwise, I don't see any other reason why not.
I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to happen.
At this point, or what?
What's that?
You think he's better than his liver opponent?
He would definitely be better than Korobov.
Yeah, I think the Korobov is a lousy fight, but there's nothing Charlo can do about it.
Yeah. But everywhere I go on Twitter on boxing scene, which every time I read there, they always shit on PBC fights, and everybody's like, I like Korobov, maybe because they want action-packed fight. Korobov is not going to be running around like Willie Monroe, so that from that sense, I like it because Willie never is an exciting fight. He's always fucking running around, So in that way, I think I kind of like it. What did you guys think of? Is also Beeb? This is 2 weeks in a row. 2 champions went the distance with guys that Tank knocked out in less than, I think, 9 rounds.
I know.
What does that say about Tank, Beeb?
It doesn't say anything about him. It's a different style.
No, Eric, you always bring that bullshit line, styles make fight. No, it has nothing to do with style.
It's not what I said.
It's fucking special power.
Not what I said.
It has to do with his special power. It's not just style. It's his power. I don't think Tank and
so you think
fucking take clean shots from Tank at all.
All right, so let me understand this. So you think that Tank is better because Tevin Farmer took this guy the distance, and then Loma took this guy the distance last week that he beat?
Tank is like 3 levels above Farmer. I didn't need to see the fight last night to know that. I'm just asking Beeb a question. Beeb, what do you think? 2 weeks in a row, 2 top champions go distance with Tank's left. What does that say us about Tank, dude? What do you think?
Tank can punch. There's no question. He can punch. He can definitely.
And he gets no credit, does he? He barely gets any credit for those wins.
Because he doesn't fight enough. It's his own fault. He doesn't fight enough.
He had 3 fights last year. Nobody gave him credit. Nobody cared that he fought 3 times.
Yeah,
everybody, as soon as he turned,
he fought 3 times last year.
We're not fighting because they wanted to go on Disowned.
Well, we're worried about what he's going to do in the future. Mayweather hasn't gotten him a fight.
He's already got a fight lined up. Robbie, why do you keep saying that shit, dude? He's got February 9th. The arena's been announced. Tickets are on sale. I mean, what the fuck else do you want? Jesus Christ, you keep saying Mayweather hasn't done shit for his fight. Mayweather is not the one who puts on his fight. The Showtime and Al Heyman. He just promotes the card.
Gervonta Davis fought twice last year, not 3 times.
Factual. Mayweather does not promote him 24/7.
You're looking this up too.
Yeah.
Jesus. Did you not know the fight has been announced, Robbie? The tickets are on sale.
Who's he fighting?
Abner Mares. February 9th.
Arena.
Jason, I hate to correct you, but Tank fought twice last year.
Where have you been, dude?
Hey,
Jason,
what'd you say, Beeb?
Tank didn't fight a guy with a winning record until his 8th or 9th fight.
Who?
Tank.
So what? That's like.
So what? So what?
He was
so what? You're the one saying he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Do me a favor.
Yeah, but he didn't
do me a favor.
30 years old like Loma with 400 amateur fights.
Do me a favor. Go look at Loma's record and his combined wins, and then you talk to me about records.
Yeah, how many?
Shut it.
How many pro fights did he have? Loma have in Europe? How many amateur fights did he have?
0.
400 plus.
0. He had 0 pro fights. He had 0 pro fights because I don't care what you say.
No,
They did not go on your record. Those are not considered pro fights, stupid.
According to Max Kellerman, when Loma was fighting
Son,
with HBO,
come
those are
on,
pro fights.
son.
When you get paid for a fight and you're
Come
not wearing
on,
headgear, that's a pro
son.
fight.
You're just regurgitating nonsense.
Beeb,
They
isn't
weren't
that
pro
the
fights.
definition of a pro fight? When you don't wear headgear and you get paid, isn't that the definition
They're,
of a pro fight? Beeb?
no, it's not.
No, they don't. They don't go on your record though.
The definition of a pro fight, no headgear and getting paid.
All right, so then I guess Mayweather's got a pro fight coming on New Year's Eve, right?
Hey, Beeb.
I guess Mayweather's got a pro fight coming on New Year's Eve, huh?
Those don't go on the official record though, Jason. They're technically not amateur fights.
Son.
They don't go on your record.
They don't go on your record. It's not a pro fight.
I know they don't go on your record, but that's what Max Kellerman said.
Who cares what Max Kellerman said?
If you get paid after a fight and you're not wearing headgear, that's a pro fight. That's it.
Who cares what Max Kellerman said? What do you want to bone him? What are you bringing up him for?
Yeah, but he worked for HBO. He was HBO's biggest star. He wasn't like bad.
Oh, Max Kellerman said it. Oh, well, you know.
I thought you only cared what Ellie Setback said. Now you care what Max Kellerman said?
Once Canelo was 68, he said it would be a slaughter.
Who?
So he was talking some shit, you know?
Who?
I just sent you the video. Check it out. Jacob on Behind the Gloves, he said it'll be a slaughter if Canelo fights me at 168. But, you know. Somebody said he was in the ring last night. Why didn't he confront Canelo then if he was in the ring?
He did.
Shook his hand.
Shook his hand.
He was cordial with him.
What kind of shit is that? Why is he shaking his hand?
Because he's a gentleman?
Told him it was a great performance. He was very cordial.
What's going to happen? He's going to get in his face and Canelo's going to say, you're next. He's going to get in his face and Canelo's going to say, we're never giving you a shot.
Fight, man. We're the two best at 160. Let's fight. What's with shaking hands and shit? We'll save the shake hand for later. What did he do? Go on the mic and say, let's fight next or no? I missed that part.
No, he went over there and shook his hand.
Obviously, you would be a horrible manager, Jason, because you would never get your fighters fights.
No?
No, Jason, no.
Yeah.
What? You think, man, come on. What do you guys think about B? What do you think about the UK ITV deal? You know, ITV is like the...
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a little while. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah. What do you also is Ajagbe, that African heavyweight? Is he on Charles' undercard?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fighting Santino Turnbow.
And Eric, you were saying you like the apps because you can see the whole undercard. They said the first few cards are not going to show the whole undercard, but they're working on it. That's just like the UFC used to show every prelim on FS1.
Yeah.
That's what PBC will do starting in a few weeks or so.
Well, starting in a few weeks ain't now.
Also,
I believe it when I see it.
If you missed all those, if you guys missed all those PBC shows, they're airing right now, 8:30 to 10:30.
Yeah, have you guys seen those PBC shows at all?
What channel are those? What channel are they on? What channel are they on? Fox?
I watched. Hey, Robbie, set your DVR on Fox Sports at 8:30 right now.
Fox Sports 1?
Pacific time, I guess.
What channel? Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1?
Fox Sports 1, Robbie?
Yeah, I want. Yeah, I got it.
Check. Put your DVR on 5:30, I guess 5:30 Pacific time. 5:17 there, right?
Yep.
Yes. Put up your DVR. Beeb, did you see any of them? I like them, man.
No, I gotta check them out. I gotta check them out.
Are you on Eastern time?
Yeah, I'm on Eastern time. Yeah.
Boston's at 8:30.
Yeah, set your DVR right now, bro. 8:30. I mean, you guys are the show hosts. You guys should watch them, man. Come on.
Why should we watch them? If I'm not interested in it, why should I watch it?
I watched the Porter and I watched the main show, PBC boxing show. It was like Wilder visited the set. He had a long interview. He's got a lot of fucking charisma and shit. You know, I mean, this is.
Yeah, we've been saying that. We know he does. I mean,
Yeah,
what is it? Is it like a big love fest for PBC fighters?
The punching bag and shit.
Is that what this is?
The punching bag like the UFC fighters used to.
They go on there and they hit a punching bag? Come on.
No,
son.
dude, they had interviews. Then at the end of the show, they were just standing around joking. And they said, "Let's see who's got more power." And fucking Wilder said, "My right hand is hurt," so he took a left shot. And Jared Heard's right hand was the same as Wilder's left hand. It was like 9:30 or something. Wilder's left was the same as Jared's right. Kind of crazy. And also, there's two other shows. They're called PBC Countdown. It's like 30-minute shows. They're like all access. They went to Houston to visit their gyms and their house, and they're showing their home life, gym life. Those are like 8. Those are 9:30 to 10:30 tonight. Also, they're all back to back on Fox Sports 1.
Wow,
they're really good.
Yeah, can't wait till I watch that.
Those chick is pretty good too.
Can't wait till I watch that, son.
Well, why wouldn't you want? Dude, the first show did 1.2 million on Fox. 11
So what?
at the same time Loma versus Pedraza was happening. Did you know that, Beeb?
Cares?
No, did not know that.
Yeah, well, people care when Loma does 1.8 million as a boxing fight. If 1.2 million people are watching a countdown show, that's good for boxing.
I
right?
don't. I could care less. I'm gonna be watching the fights,
You're
not watching some
casual.
count.
We're trying to bring
You're right. I'm not a casual.
Hey, when there's a fight on, I'm going to watch the fight first, man.
It is.
Well, I know the fight, but they're trying to hype the fight up for next week. That's what they're doing. That's a good thing. Also, why is Georgie not calling in? Is he locked up or something?
I have no idea. I don't.
He's probably
Georgie
busy.
didn't fax me his schedule. I don't know.
People are doing things.
What do you guys think about AJ trying to make excuses yesterday?
He
Oh,
wasn't making excuses. What are you talking about? You're such like you create like your own agenda when you call in here. Somebody says something and then you just take it to the hill. What excuses did he give for not fighting Wilder?
Shut up, dude. Let me finish my sentence.
You're not saying anything. You're talking, but you're not saying anything.
Did you see his interview with the fight crew last night on the Zone, Beeb?
Yes, we all saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
I'm talking to Beeb. Relax, Eric.
Talking to you.
I saw it.
Yeah, Georgie's in the chat, son.
I saw it, Jason.
He's like, I need to see how much you made, this and that. I mean, he never talks about any of that with Parker or anybody. They gave Parker a fucking split, like a 36% split. Why do they want to know about that with Wilder?
Because Wilder was talking about being pay-per-view.
He is pay-per-view. His pay-per-view grossed more money than AJ's pay-per-view.
How do you know? You don't.
Because we know how much pay-per-views in America.
You don't know how much he grossed. You don't know how much he grossed. You don't know what he put in his pocket. You don't.
We know. We have an idea.
Shut up.
Bob Arum said, in America, when he sells a $75 pay-per-view, you take $35 home. That's what Bob Arum said.
Oh, well, you hate Bob Arum. You hate Bob Arum, and you call him a liar and everything like that, but now you want to trust him.
Yeah,
come on, son. Come on, son.
Confirmation bias.
Yep. That's what it is. That's what it is.
What is?
You.
Also, hey, have you guys noticed every time a top-ranked champion struggles or doesn't have the best performance, somehow at the end of the fight, always the same thing. I've got an injury. Manny's got the shoulder. Loma's got the shoulder. Zurdo's got an injury. I mean, every time they don't have a best performance, it's a fucking injury.
Zurdo, he didn't struggle, though. I don't think he struggled in that fight, did he?
I thought he won the fight.
When does he not struggle?
Well, now he'll be going to 175, so we'll see what he does there.
There you go.
Jason hates Ramirez. I don't know why.
He hates everybody that's not involved in PBC. And there he is. He's praising Bob Arum just a minute ago.
Like him, dude. Who has Zurdo fought for me to like him? I mean,
who's Tank fought for you to like him? Who's Tank fought?
Huh?
Who's Tank fought?
Tank and Barney beat Pedraza.
Pedraza. That's it. That's the only name on his resume. Who else?
What?
Who else?
Pedraza, Cuellar, world champion.
Cuellar, get out of here.
Another three-time world champion.
Yeah.
Right.
Get out of here, son. Come on.
Hey, Eric,
You've got nothing.
Farmer's a sharp fighter. Who has Farmer beaten? Has Farmer even beaten one champion yet?
I'm not over there on his jock about his resume either.
I'm just asking.
I'm not jocking his resume like you are, son.
Has he?
You're all over his shorts. Oh, Tank's the best ever. He beat Loma and Farmer on the same night. He beat everybody.
Are you saying he's not? Are you saying he's not?
I'm saying he moves up in weight. He's getting murked by Loma. That's what I'm saying.
Murked by Loma. Loma can't even murk fucking Mariaga or fucking.
Come on,
Pedraza.
son.
What are you doing? What are you smoking over there in Ohio?
Come on, son.
Loma went 11 rounds with Jason Sosa, and the fucking ref stopped it. Jason Sosa was standing on his feet. What are you talking about? You can't even.
That's a knockout. Did the ref stop the fight? That's a knockout.
Get out of here.
The ref stopped the fight. It's a knockout, right?
Yeah, go look at Jason Sosa's face. He was fucking smiling. He had no fucking cuts, no injury, nothing.
Right. It was a conspiracy. You're right. You're 100% right. Thank you for dropping your boxing knowledge. It was a conspiracy. I forgot.
Shut up. Beeb.
We'll see you next week, Jason.
Shut up, Robbie. Hold on, Beeb. Let me ask Beeb last question. Beeb.
Go ahead.
Are you there, Beeb?
Yes, he's there. Hey, ask.
Go ahead, ask.
I can't hear him, dude. Beeb, but what's the Farmer's best win, do you think? Farmer's.
I'd be hard pressed to find one for you.
Exactly, Eric. Did you hear that? Exactly.
Who did I say would win between Tank and Farmer? Beeb, who did I say would win between Tank and Farmer?
Tank. I think Tank.
You.
They all think Tank beats Farmer.
We all pick Tank.
I mean, Didn't Pedraza get knocked out by Pedraza? Farmer was.
Didn't Pedraza get knocked out by Pedraza? Are you a moron?
No.
Have you been drinking tonight? Dude, come on. Dude, what do you, did Pedraza get knocked out by Pedraza?
Pedraza or no? Did you watch it?
See you next week.
Bobby, you better stop crying, dude. All right.
We'll see you later.
Good God. Why do we allow him to get away with this crap? Seriously.
Freedom of speech, Robbie. Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Jeez. Good God.
I think take Merck's Tevin Farmer.
I do too. I think he beats Tevin Farmer. I never wanted to see that fight because I didn't think it was that competitive. Everybody was calling for it, and I'm like, there's no way he beats him.
I'm not screaming and crying for that fight. I don't care if that.
No, I'm not either. But it's like he calls me up, and he calls up, and then he sends me text messages about Tank. Tank beat Fonseca. Tank beat what's his face and knocked them both out. Pedraza knocked him out. Blah blah blah. So that must mean Tank is much better than Loma, or much better than
look, Eric, we may not want to see it, but it's probably eventually going to happen, don't you think?
I don't care if it happens. That's the thing. I could care less if it happens. I mean, but you're trying to tell me that Tank's got a better resume than Loma because Loma's not fought anybody. 370 some combined wins of Loma's opponents. 370. What did I read? It was 370 something and 20 losses or 30 something like it was something ridiculous.
Linares is better than anyone on Tank's resume.
For sure.
I'm just being honest. Linares is better than anyone on Tank's resume.
The thing is, you go back to Gary Russell is better than anybody on his resume. I mean, anybody. I mean, for you to say that he doesn't have a good resume, you're not being honest. You know what I mean? That's just it.
I love Gary Russell, Eric, but he doesn't fight often enough for anybody to,
Still a good fighter
though. Jason said I clock blocked his whole call. Clock blocked. Yeah. That's like the Pedraza fighting Pedraza. All right.
Anyway, who's next?
You just relax. You just relax over there. And listen, I know your Oakland Raiders had a tough day, but listen, they came to Titletown. What do you expect?
Jason got them all rattled
for them.
Jason got them all rattled.
He did, didn't he?
Gets them all bent out of shape.
I know. Yeah, Jason, see what you do. You call up, and he gets Robert all rattled.
Oh, poor Robbie.
I don't get it. All right, area code 602. 602. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's Brandon.
Hey,
Brandon, what's going on? Brandon's a big Canelo fan.
Brandon, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
I said you're a big Canelo fan, right?
I like Canelo, but I'm not really a huge fan of like anybody really. I'm just a boxer, so I'm not really just like drawn to certain fighters as much as I used to be. Back in the day, I was a huge Shane Mosley fan. That was my guy. That guy and Ike Abuchi.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah.
The president.
But anyway, last night, man, it was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? So I will give it that. And I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I do check out the YouTube boxing community to kind of get a feel for what people are saying. And some people were complaining about this fight, but I rather have Canelo fight somebody than not fight at all. So I wasn't too upset with this, and I understand that there's a need for soft touches here and there. But I just really wish that Fielding would have kind of gave us a little bit more. I mean, even for Fielding standards, and I have seen the fight. That was a pretty shoddy performance in my opinion by him. I mean, he just seemed way too happy to get knocked out.
Yeah, what was with the smiling and stuff? Did you notice that when he went down, he would smile at his corner? And I got these guys.
Competitive.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's the point. You know what? That's a good term. He wasn't competitive. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and you're right.
And not like competitive as in like he was gonna win the fight, but like as in competitive is like he had some type of inkling that he was gonna try to win the fight. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was gonna go in there with Canelo, I'd have a little bit more desire than Rocky Fielding did. I mean, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he just looked way too happy about getting his ass whooped. So I mean, that's that. But so there's not too much to talk about that. I will say something that is kind of brewed in my mind after watching that fight, seeing Canelo fight somebody that tall. What would you guys say to Gilberto Ramirez versus Canelo, since he doesn't really have anybody to fight at 68? Now I know he said that he was going to go to 75, but do you think that Golden Boy could lure Gilberto over to his own with Bob's blessing for
absolutely
a big fight like that at 68?
Well, I said earlier in the show that I think Canelo would have a real good shot at beating Zerto Ramirez.
That's an awesome fight.
Yeah,
I mean, that is an awesome fight. That's a big fight.
Now, real quick, go ahead, Robbie.
And for those that have been criticizing Gilberto Ramirez, if he actually took a fight against Canelo, they wouldn't be able to criticize him whether he won or lost, because all we ever hear about Gilberto Ramirez, well, who's he fought? Well, they wouldn't be able to say that if he had the guts to actually take that fight.
Well, you know what, Robbie? To counter that, I am one of those people who's constantly been raising the hand about what's going on with Gilberto Ramirez and his competition. And I would still criticize it because it is somebody from a lower division that a certain circumstance. I would have liked to see him unify against somebody, maybe take a big fight against Benavidez. Somebody, just somebody, anybody. Even maybe go across the pond for a Eubank fight. Just anything. And, I mean, we haven't gotten anything from Gilberto Ramirez since he got that championship belt. I mean, nothing interesting.
The problem you have is Bob Arum. I don't think Bob Arum really wants to work with certain people. I honestly think that's why a lot of these fights with Ramirez are not being made, is because Arum only wants to work with certain people and he doesn't want to work with others.
Agreed. Now, the other thing I was going to say real quick about that was this, is that I just, at the same time, I also think that Gilberto hasn't had to get up for a fight probably since he fought Abraham. You know what I mean? Like I think he's kind of been fighting down to his competition, because the person that I saw on there last night and probably the two fights before that, I always felt that he was at a higher level than what he's shown these past couple of fights. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he did fight Canelo and he showed up a lot better. But, it's just an interesting thing I think that maybe could be on the table, especially for, Cinco de Mayo. They could turn it into a real big deal. I don't think it's going to happen because we all know, Bob's track record right now is not good, especially since they've had this ESPN deal. I mean, we really haven't seen any of his heavy hitters go across the street since he's been on ESPN. I mean, he's on HBO too. ESPN. I mean, there hasn't been an inkling of anything like that.
You're right.
We'll see. But I wanted to comment on what you guys were saying about the commentary team too. Basically, you know what? The DAZN commentating team to me is okay, because I compare them to what's out there. And right now, with Kriegel and the ESPN team, I'd rather have Ray Leonard saying that was amazing or he's impressed than Kriegel saying whatever the hell Kriegel says during the fight. And I actually do enjoy Sergio Mora. And I don't think Brian Kenny's kind of like, he's just like right at replacement level. I couldn't care if it was Kenny or whoever's doing ESPN's right now, Papa. I mean, the only way that they would improve is maybe by getting who's the brother who used to do Showtime back in the day? He does on Fox now. Gus, yeah. If maybe they could get a Gus or somebody like that, or or Lamps, of course. But I mean, it's that to me is just kind of, it is what it is. But I do like Mora. I do enjoy Mora.
I think he's good. Yeah, I like Mora too.
Yeah, I like Mora sometimes.
And then real quick, man, when are you guys going to do like a show, like a year wrap up, like fight of the year, knockout?
Oh, we got to do that. Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah, I guess we got to do that, huh? I never even thought about that. Honestly,
last show of the month, maybe.
Do that.
Couple weeks, I guess. Yeah.
Not next week, but the week after, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll have to. We'll have
because the holidays are coming up, and
we can do that on December 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, bet. I'm gonna try to make a little list or something like that. And then, I don't know what you guys were saying before about it, but I like the Korobov fight for Charlo more than the Willie Monroe fight.
Really?
Willie Monroe. I mean, what's Willie Monroe's greatest accomplishment? At least Korobov has, looked good in a big title fight against Andy Lee until he got knocked out, and then he also beat Ustahagi. On HBO one night, clear-cut decision over Ustahagi, who has a a share of the 168-pound belt right now. So honestly, I think that Korobov is a higher level fighter than Monroe, and I didn't like Monroe's performance against Billy Joe Saunders at all.
I didn't either. I gotta be
honest. I thought it was
honest.
a terrible performance.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah. But anyway, with that, man, I'll leave you guys, man. I'll holler at y'all next week. All right.
All right, man. Thank you, sir.
All right, man.
All right.
That's a phone call, guys.
There it is. Chicago 312. You're up.
Fight Doctor.
Fight Doctor is in the house on Rick James status as always.
Fight Doctor. What's the word?
Today's word is robbery.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I
and
ask
we
why?
need to distinguish. Yes. We need to be able to distinguish when one has actually occurred and when there's only been speculation of a robbery. Okay? We need to learn the difference between the two. Now, a robbery, in my definition of a robbery would be Lewis Holyfield 1. That is what you call robbery in broad daylight.
Yeah, that's definitely a robbery. I'll go along with that.
Yes, it
That
was.
was
I gotcha.
a robbery. Yeah, okay, that was robbery, broad daylight, with plenty of eyewitnesses, but no conviction. I mean, that was just a robbery, okay? But what we saw between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury does not fit that category. That was not a robbery. This wasn't, okay? And now, listen, if you want to make the argument that Tyson Fury outboxed Deontay Wilder, yeah, I would agree with that all day long. Yes, he did. He outboxed him. I mean, there were stretches of the fight where Tyson Fury made Deontay Wilder look amateurish. Okay? Sure.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay? However, a fight is scored over 12 rounds. And the fact of the matter is this, is that the illusion of outboxing someone does not trump the mathematics. Okay, not to say that it was an illusion. I mean, we all saw what we saw, but knockdowns count. Okay, and when you knock a guy down twice, well, you win those 2 rounds, plus you get 2 extra points. Okay, so those 2 rounds turn into 4 rounds. Okay, mathematically speaking, when you are scoring a fight properly, 10-8 rounds, 2 10-8 rounds, that's like winning 4 rounds. Okay? So let's just take, Wilder knocked Fury down in the 9th round and in the 12th round, correct?
That is correct.
So let's take the 9th round and the 12th round and set those to the side, okay? Because those rounds were 10-8 rounds, and there's no argument there. All right? If we're going to judge a fight properly, then Wilder wins both of those rounds by 10-8, period. End of story.
Yeah, I don't think anybody questions that.
Set them to the side, all right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to argue with that.
Of the 10 remaining rounds, okay? Of the 10 remaining rounds, now mind you, Wilder's already up 4 points. Okay? He's already up 4 points. Of the 10 remaining rounds, Wilder only needs to win 2. And guess what? You have a draw fight.
He's going to win 3.
Okay? You have a draw fight. Now, I saw Wilder
I think
winning the first round.
I think you're wrong.
He has to win 3 rounds to get a draw. Yeah, he needs 3 more rounds to get a draw. 2.
Right.
Yeah.
The way that I saw the first 10 rounds, minus the knockdown rounds, I thought Fury won 9 out of 10.
I gave Wilder 3
Well,
rounds.
I didn't see that fight. And if my math is off, then forgive me.
Yeah.
3 rounds is 2 rounds.
3. He needs to win 3 rounds to get a draw.
Yeah.
So it has to be a 7-5 fight for Fury for Wilder to get a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because on my scorecard, I had...
And that's the problem with a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying that he only has to win 2 rounds to get a draw. No, he has to win 3 rounds to get a draw.
And I'll tell you what, there's no way I gave Wilder 5 rounds in that fight. I mean, I just can't find him.
I can see
the 9th and the 12th. Obviously, those are 2 rounds. Find 3 more rounds. I can't find them.
Maybe the 2nd, the 1st, and the 5th. If you wanted to, if you really were trying to, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. That's a tough sell.
Because I gave him the 2nd. You gave him the 5th.
I gave him the 7th.
Oh, the 7th. I apologize.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I did. Here, hold on. I got it
No,
up here.
I thought you said you gave him the 5th. I could be wrong though.
You're right. I gave him the 5th.
You gave him the 5th. I gave him the 2nd, and we both agreed that the 1st round could have went either way, right?
Yeah.
So say someone gives Wilder the 1st, the 2nd, and the 5th, then you can have a draw. A draw is not impossible.
Right.
In my opinion, I think it's a stretch. I don't think it's impossible.
Right. It's a stretch though.
Him winning is impossible.
No, there was no robbery there, Fight Doctor, at all.
I thought it was a bad decision myself.
I thought it was a real bad decision.
I thought it was a bad decision myself.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys say there was no robbery, but it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which one is it? I mean,
thought it was a bad decision.
Or was it a robbery, or is it both? Because a bad decision and a robbery kind of go hand in hand.
It's a bad decision,
And
no question
I'm just
about
saying,
it.
like, mathematically, I'm sorry?
How did you have it scored?
So I gave Wilder at least 2 of those early rounds. I gave him the 1st, and I believe I may have given him the 2nd by narrow margin and 1 of the middle rounds.
Yeah.
So you gave him 4 rounds total. So you gave him 4 rounds total?
Oh, he gave him 5 rounds. He gave him 5 rounds.
5 rounds. Okay. So he had it a draw. You had it a draw.
You had it a draw. You had it a draw.
And as we said when we did the show the next day, Fight Doctor, we wouldn't criticize anybody for giving this fight a draw.
But there's a lot of criticism of Wilder's performance, and there's a lot to criticize.
Yes.
There is a lot to criticize. Okay. I would be very interested to see what a rematch looks like. I think perhaps if Wilder would have landed that 2-punch combination in the 8th round instead of the 12th round, we might not be sitting here having this conversation right now. Okay. He probably would have knocked Fury out. You know, I mean, he looked like he was out in the 12th. How he got up, I don't know.
Right. I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows that.
Yeah. So I think both guys walk away. I think both guys walk away from the fight with a bit more confidence than they had coming into the fight. I think Tyson Fury walks away from the fight knowing that he can outbox Deontay Wilder for the majority of the fight. Okay? He walks away with that knowledge. On the other hand, Deontay Wilder walks away with the knowledge that he can put Tyson Fury down and out.
But not out, though, because he got up.
Right.
He got up.
Solid. Clean. Okay? He got up. I agree. He got up. But, again, I don't think Deontay Wilder is carrying as much power in the 12th round as he is in the first, half of the fight.
Yeah.
Now, had Wilder landed that same combination in the 6th round, 7th round, 8th round, I think Tyson Fury would not have got up. Okay?
Well, it depends because Tyson Fury could be fresher too. You know what I'm saying? He could have more in the tank early in the fight too. And then something that we all said before the fight, Eric, myself, and I'm not sure if Robbie said it, but I know Eric and myself said it. We already came to the conclusion that we didn't even think that was 100% Tyson Fury. We thought that was a 75% Tyson Fury, but with all due respect to Wilder, we thought that was still enough to beat Wilder. So going into another fight, we're not going to get a 75% Fury. We're probably going to get a 90% Fury, or maybe even 100% Fury. And Wilder's talking about wanting to get up to 240 pounds. He's the one that's saying that he's going to box more. I mean, Fury's not the one that's saying he's going to change much, but Wilder is the one saying he's going to change all these things. So apparently, he's the one that seems to be going back to the drawing board, and all Fury's going to be doing is sharpening up what he already did.
Right. And I'll be honest with you. There's nothing Wilder can do. He cannot go back to the drawing board. He's not capable. You're looking at a guy who's had 40 fights, 41 fights now. Listen, you're not changing that guy. He is who he is.
Yeah.
It's not like he's got 5 pro fights or 10 pro fights and you can kind of alter him and he switches. He can't do that. He's done. You're looking at who he is.
The boxer usually wins in the rematch. The boxer usually beats the puncher in the rematch. History's shown us that.
Go ahead, Fight Doctor. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Fight Doctor.
I would agree that the guy who needs to make the adjustments here is Wilder. And the question is, can he make those adjustments? And I kind of sort of agree with Beeb's assessment here that the guy, he is who he is, but the question is, can he sort of reinvent himself, which is, I think, what he would need to do to give himself a better chance to win the rematch. I wouldn't count him out. I would think the guy who's probably coming, I would think the guy who's going into the rematch with the most confidence is probably Tyson Fury, for 2 reasons. One, he outboxed Deontay Wilder, made him like an amateur. And 2, he got up.
Yeah, see, and like I said on last week's show, Fight Doctor, I said that's got to be psychologically damaging to Wilder because he's used to people, once they fall, they don't get up.
I mean, if you really think about it, Tyson Fury got up with 9.5, like at 9.5. So he just beat that count by barely a half second. So it's not impossible that Wilder can't land that punch because he landed it twice. But what happens if he lands it 3 times? What happens if he finishes? What happens if, like, there's a lot of time left in that 12th round and he still wasn't able to finish Fury. He jumped on him. He hit him with another right hand. Fury weathered the storm.
Yeah, there was a ton of time left.
There's a ton of time left.
A lot of time left.
He had plenty of time to get him out of there. That's what not enough people are saying that. They're not mentioning how much time was left on the clock.
And he was getting batted around at the end of that round.
And then he was actually holding at the end of that round.
Right.
That's not. So after the knockdown, Wilder did not land any more clean punches.
Yes, he did. He landed a right hand right to his face. He landed another right hand right to his face.
Okay.
You have to go back and watch it. He landed another right hand right. Didn't he land another right hand right to his face, Eric?
I don't recall seeing him land any more clean, hard punches.
Didn't he land another right hand to his face, Eric, after he got up?
I thought he did, but I can't remember everything.
Yeah, I know he did. Yeah, he landed another right hand. It wasn't as flush as the other one because it was kind of like an overhand wild one, but it landed on the side of his head. Didn't land on his chin.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, I mean, in that rematch, if they rematch, man, Wilder's going to have a tough time because he couldn't put him away.
Bad style matchup for Wilder.
He hit him flush. You don't hit the guy any more flush than he did in that 12th round. He
Twice.
Hand and a left hook.
And a left hook.
On the way down. Fury was out before he hit the canvas. He was completely out, and he got back up.
He woke up.
What are you going to do now? You cannot. You're not knocking that dude out.
Well, so here's what. So can I tell you? Can I answer that question? What does Wilder do now?
Yeah.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Box.
He can't box.
Okay.
Can't outbox this guy.
Now wait. Now the guy is a veteran of 40 some odd fights. Okay. And listen, go back and watch the fight with Luis Ortiz. All right. Wilder was actually showing some very good boxing ability and an ability to adjust. All right, because there were stretches, there were parts in the Ortiz fight where Wilder was actually outboxing Ortiz. Okay, he was. So I don't buy the argument that Wilder can't box. I don't buy that argument. You don't get to be 40-0 or 40-0-1, not being able to. You just don't get to this level.
Yeah, he has the ability to land that right hand and set up that right hand. There's no question. It's not like he's throwing a Hail Mary and he's closing his eyes and throwing that right hand. He is legitimately setting up that right hand. Like he shows flashes of good offensive boxing ability, but his defense is very porous. And there's a lot of moments in the fight where he gets over anxious. It's not like that wasn't the only fight that he got over anxious and wild. he gets a little bit excited in there, and then the technique goes out the window. But when he does decide to throw a straight right, followed up by a left hook, that was a picture-perfect combination that he set up beautifully.
Yeah.
Gotta give him credit for that. But the thing is does he have the discipline, and can he control that adrenaline where he can do that more often and do it consistently throughout the whole course of the fight? History has shown us no. So
we can only base it on what we've seen in the past. And we can say, yeah, he had flashes in the Ortiz fight, but Ortiz was winning that fight. And I don't care what the scorecard said. I mean, we all know he was winning the fight. He was losing against Gerald Washington. He was losing against Arthur Spilska. These aren't like, upper echelon killers here. Steve, I think your microphone is on the fritz here.
But yeah, guys, just I don't think we should count Wilder out. I think maybe perhaps if he would go back to his boxing, okay, and find a way to land the jab, set up the right hand, maybe, I think he would have a better chance in winning the rematch if he could just. He's going to have to get the jab going, okay? It's just that simple.
Yeah.
If he can't get the jab going, then I see a repeat of what happened last time. Only this time, maybe Tyson Fury doesn't get knocked down twice.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, anything's possible, man. I tell you what, there's been a lot of rematches that you saw that you're like, there's no way that guy can win, and he ends up winning. So this may be one of those things.
Right.
So.
I mean, who knows? It might turn into a trilogy,
Yeah. Very, very well could. All right, Fight Doctor, man, we're going to get running. Thank you so much for the call. He's always got good calls.
Good call, right? It's good call.
We've got good calls, man.
Good call.
Absolutely. All right, let's see here. Stockton,
baby.
Nick Diaz.
Nate Diaz in the house, baby.
What, like he couldn't call the show? What's the matter with you? Nick Diaz, 209. Stockton, son. You live.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
What's happening, man?
What's up, Robbie? What's up, Eric? What's up, Beeb?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Real quick before I get on to what I wanted to talk about, can you guys tell me I want to help Fight Doctor's argument out because I think he kind of got off track, but it's like something I've been thinking about. So what rounds did you guys give Wilder, each of you, aside from the 8th and 12th?
9th, yeah, 5, 9, and 12. I gave him 5, 9, and 12.
Sorry, 9 and 12. Sorry. So, Robbie, what other round did you give Wilder?
I gave him 2, 9, and 12.
All right. I see where you're going.
I gave him 2, 9, and 12.
Okay. That's where it fell. All right. So both of you guys gave him 2. I gave him 5. Yeah. So that's still 4. Okay. He still falls short.
Let's look at this for a second real quick. All right. You guys both disagree on the round you guys give to Wilder, right? You got 2 and a 5.
Yes.
So there's 2 right there that we could say that would go to Wilder. And I've heard a lot of people say 1 or 3 could go to Wilder as well. So all I'm saying is it's not out of the realm of possibility for people to find 5 rounds or 5 rounds.
Draw's not impossible, but my whole point was
I'm going off of what you guys just said. You guys both all 2 and 5. So I'm saying
but let me just explain something. This is what I said when we did the post-fight show. I said a draw is not impossible, but in order for a draw to happen, you would have to give Wilder every swing round. So if you're given one fighter every single swing round, then you're looking for rounds to give that guy.
But that's not what I'm saying right now, Beeb, because like I'll tell you right now, the thing I hear, and I hear it a lot in boxing, but it's for every sport, but in particular in boxing, because like yesterday I went back and it wasn't the Wilder and Fury fight I went back and watched. It was some other fight. I don't know why I thought of it. I went back. I can't even remember what it was. And I went back to watch and just see if I could, tell from the angles and see what part was really landing and which were really slipping or whatever. And if you guys really go back and look at this stuff, you guys know we kind of get this like, oh, that's the guy who was winning, and we want to be right at that point. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if we go back and look, we can't really. It's really hard to tell from a TV screen really what's landing, what's not landing.
I think it's easier. To tell from a TV screen.
The judges,
Yeah. Because I hate to cut you off, but when I saw Victor Ortiz versus Andre Berto, I was there live, and I actually had the fight very close. Then when I went home and watched it on television, and I saw everything clean and clear, I thought Berto clearly won the fight.
Yeah.
So when you're on television, you have the best seat in the house. You're getting the best angle. You're looking at like every single conceivable. You're getting the perfect camera angle. You're not getting the back. You're not getting the back of a fighter with like a judge would get. You're getting a better. This is why I always said judges should be in a room with a television monitor instead of being ringside. That's what I always said. Right. And I think judges should have instant replay. I think judges should be able to, watch a television instead of watching the fight and get all that better angles. But even when I went back and watched that Wilder fight, I don't even think the first round was really a swing round because Fury was the only one that landed punches in that round. He actually ended a right hand at the end of that round that I thought. I don't even think the first round was a swing round, to be honest with you.
Hold on a second. That's not my argument. I'm not trying to argue for.
No, it's fine.
Fury won. So hold on a second. But before we move on, what I was going to say was the fight that I specifically watched. It all depends on the camera work, Beeb. So the one I was watching last night, they're constantly switching angles. So you can't tell, like, when they're switching angles, hey, what happened right there? What happened? They're switching angles, like, right in the middle of the action. So, yeah, you can but what I'm saying is it's never 100% perfect. And, but anyway, my real point was, like I was saying, was if you guys can't agree on the round that you give your Wilder, all I'm saying is to, help Fight Doctor out on what he was saying, like, it's not impossible. And more important to me is like, I'll be honest, I think we're too caught up in the results rather than focusing. I mean, everyone gives it lip service, right? Before they go, well, before I give you what I think about the scoring of the fight, that was a really good fight. But then everyone excuse my language, focuses on that part of the fight rather than the fact that we just had one of the best heavyweight fights in the last 10 years,
No, hey, it was darn good, yeah. I'm not.
It was a great fight. Great fight.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who did you think won the fight, though?
Yeah.
Who did you think won the fight?
Really don't know. I'll be honest. I feel like I don't know enough about the scoring of boxing. And I'll be honest, at the end of the fight, I really didn't know who won. I honestly had no idea. I'm not even.
And you know what? Thank you so much. I respect your opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for saying that, because other people are saying things like, "Oh, the 2 knockdowns," but you honestly don't feel comfortable enough using the 10-point system, and I respect that. At least you didn't have these unwritten rules that other people are using to justify their scorecards.
Exactly.
So I totally respect that answer. Thank you so much for being honest.
Well, thanks, Beeb. I appreciate that. And but what I wanted to say was I feel like I want to get on to something. It's related to the larger point of my phone call. Actually, I was listening to some of your guys' post-fight last night, which was really good. That was really fun last night, guys.
Thank you.
But I heard something in there. It's been finally like it's finally like the thoughts coming more clear now. What's bothering me when I hear this stuff is we as boxing fans and fight fans in general boxing fans, we're playing into the promoter's hands, because everyone, if you listen to conversations like tonight, I heard it last night, I hear it on every channel, I do it too, we'll sit there and talk about a possible matchup, and then what do? We come up with all the roadblocks to it happening that are
90 seconds.
Well, unfortunately, when you do this on a weekly basis and you cover the sport of boxing, you have to talk about stuff. I would rather not deal with stuff like that, but unfortunately, it's something we have to deal with every week.
Absolutely, Robbie. But what I'm saying is I don't mind it when it's describing a known roadblock, or when there's some sort of corruption. It's like been
60 seconds.
We know about it, right? But when we come up with these fantasy matchups, and everyone comes up with all the reasons why it's not going to work, we're doing the promoter's work. They don't even have to do it anymore. We're acting like we're promoters. We don't know the numbers.
That's another problem I have. I don't believe in doing fantasy matchups.
I don't mean fantasy matchups so much. What I mean, Robbie, is in terms of fights we as fans want to see next. Like, you know, we always talk about, hey, what do we want next for so-and-so after they beat so-and-so? You know, like, who do we want Canelo to fight after Rocky Fieldings? And then now it's the conversation go, well, we got to think about the fact that, you know, Canelo's on Golden Boy. Why don't we need to think about that? We're the fans. Why are we talking about stuff that we ourselves, first of all, have no direct involvement in? Whatever negotiations,
10 seconds.
money they're talking about, we don't know for sure at all.
I understand where you're coming from, but when me and Eric Beeb do a weekly show on this subject, we have to cover this stuff, whether we like it or not. You know, we've got to talk.
Robbie, is I'm talking about possible. I'm just throwing it out there because I feel like this is one of the ways that we as fans could use our power to put more pressure on the promoters rather than for them. Because what I'm saying is if one of the things I want to say real quick, because I'm new to boxing, relatively speaking. I came into this really hardcore 4 or 5 years ago, and you know, I'm more of a basketball guy. And the thing that I loved about boxing is what you guys have right now is because boxing shrunk so much, the dominating fans in the sport are the hardcores. So although the promoters are, you know, doing a good job of keeping the fights from happening, they still have to pay lip service to the hardcores because they know that they're the fans. You see what I'm saying? And they'll throw you guys bones more than they will in other sports. And that's what I see is like, man, if boxing fans could realize the power that they actually have, specifically because they are the ones that drive the literal sport itself. I mean, what does everyone say boxing lives on? Pay-per-view. You know, you got Fox and ESPN, but it's really to get those guys on what? On pay-per-view, right? Pay-per-views exist on what? They literally exist on the fans paying the money to buy the pay-per-view. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We should be ordering the pay-per-views. We should be putting out there, hey, we're not going to buy that pay-per-view. We're not going to buy this one or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Letting them know that this, but also saying these are the ones that we will pay for. You see what I'm saying? Instead of us always coming up with, and I understand this discussion about this, Robbie. I'm not saying that, but I think we get too far into this where we start to say, you know what? Canelo Charlo would be a great fight. Oh, but you know what? You know, they just don't get along, the promoters, and it's like, fuck them. There's no reason why they shouldn't fight, and we shouldn't give them an out. No, I'm not saying we intend to give them an out.
Right.
But a lot of times when we start to try to talk about promotion, like we know what's going on, we really don't. All we know, and the only reason why we're boxing fans anyway, by the way, real quick, this is the last point, is because what? We love boxing. We love what's going on in the ring. And yet we're forced to spend so much time because we can't get the fights we want talking about stuff that has nothing to do with boxing. I mean, negotiations could be taking place in anything. It doesn't need to even be in sports. But no one sits around talking about that, right? The only reason why we even talk about this is because we love boxing so much and we were so disappointed and frustrated we can't get the fights we want. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm just throwing it out there. I just want to be able to talk about the sport more. And like I said, I also just feel like as boxing fans, there's an avenue to really put pressure on the people that run the sport to do what we want more so than any other sports. You know what I'm saying? And but I don't know. That's just really my thoughts on it. So I just want to say that real quick.
All right, man. Well, thank you for calling in, man. I love hearing from you, man. Call in next week, man.
All right. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you there. I'm sorry.
Good point of view. I'm not going to argue with this point of view. But unfortunately, in boxing, especially us three, we've got to deal with the realities of the situation as to where it stands, you know?
Right.
So.
All right. 805. You're live.
Hello, Nacho.
Hello, guys.
How's it going, Nacho?
Real quick, just to touch on something.
Hang on 1 second. Beeb, I think your microphone is on the fritz again here. Yeah, I'm just hearing like beeps and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not hearing you, Beeb.
All right, go ahead, Nacho.
Just to touch on something really quick that my doctor brought up. He brought up when you guys were talking about that you thought it was a bad decision between Fury and Wilder. And then he tried to say that it's pretty much the same thing as a robbery. and I'm of the argument that it's two totally different things. You can
I agree.
have someone win a fight and they don't get the correct decision, and everyone who saw the fight can legitimately say that they won the fight, but the people who were judging the fight gave the fight to the wrong fighter. Perfect example of that would be the first Paul Williams Sergio Martinez fight, where they scored it for Williams, even though everyone could see that Sergio Martinez completely outclassed him in that fight. So that was a bad decision, but it wasn't a blatant robbery, as Fight Doctor was trying to say that both are almost mutually exclusive, which I don't think is the case. I think you have bad decisions and then you have robbery. So I think there is a category for each one. They're not mutually exclusive, as the way he tried to make it sound. And the other thing that he was talking about, where he says that he thinks that he can box in spurts. Yeah, he can, but it's like you guys just said right now. He's a 33-year-old man with 41 professional fights.
He'll be 34 soon.
Is who he is. You're not going to be able to add any more wrinkles or add any more nuance to his game.
That's
He's a
it.
power puncher.
This guy's already peaked. He can't get any better. He's already peaked. He's reached his prime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you can't go back and change a 30.
Joshua's like 28. Fury's only 30. These guys got like 5 years left.
Funny to hear people think, and it's just funny to hear people think that he can totally change his game, a la Marco Antonio Barrera, and he can't. He's not that type of a guy, and I don't think that he has the trainers that can help him do that either. So, he is what he is. He's a flawed heavyweight who has a one-punch knockout power that he mutually exclusively relies on to beat people. But as far as actual boxing skills, they're very limited.
Yeah.
So, he is who he is at this point, and you can't really change him.
I agree.
And the problem
I agree.
now is the problem he has now is somebody finally felt that power and didn't go to sleep. They got up.
That's got to be eating away at him mentally. That has to be. No?
That's got to be driving him crazy, because he's so used to hitting somebody with that punch, and out they go. And for the first time in 41 fights, somebody actually got up and said, "I'm still here."
Then he's talking about getting up to 245. That's like 40. That's like 43 pounds he wants to put on. The 33 pounds he wants to put on.
And good luck keeping your stamina with that. Because, I mean, weighing in at 212, and they're talking about him going up in weight or whatever, and I heard this too, that he wants to go up in weight. Listen, I don't care how you pack that much weight on. That's great. I mean, and it's going to be all muscle, I'm sure. Great. That's going to be worse for his cardio. I mean, it just will be.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that he brought up was about how basically the 2 rounds that he got the knockdowns in were 10-8, and you can't debate that. I say you can debate the 12th round, because after Fury got up, I felt like Fury took over the second half of that round easily, and he had Wilder on the defensive towards the end of that round. So it's not just automatic.
But most of the time, Nacho, when somebody gets knocked down, even if they come back and rally, the judges have already decided they're going to score 10-8, and that's the way it normally stays.
That's true, Robbie, but at the same time, just because you get a knockdown doesn't necessarily make it mutually exclusive that it has to be a 10-8 round. You can make the case that if someone comes back and dominates the round after getting knocked down.
You could, but you can't make it in this case. You could, but you can't make it in this case.
Yeah, you could make it in this case. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
But it's not mutually exclusive that it was a 10-8 round. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay.
Really quick about the fights this weekend. Nothing what happened this weekend surprised me. I figured Canelo picked the top touch of Rocky Fielding for, his paper title, and he pretty much blew him out, and he knew that he was going to get that win, and I agree with you guys. I think Rocky Fielding was overwhelmed by the moment, by the spotlight. and I think he was just happy to be there and to collect a paycheck, and that's the way he acted, and that's what happened. So it really shouldn't surprise us who saw it coming a mile away. It's really disappointing to see David Lemieux not make 160 once again. And at this point, you kind of have to start to wonder. The guy's 30 years old, and he just has the habit of not being able to stay close enough to 160 in between fights. I think at this point, they have to seriously look at moving him up to 160.
Yeah, they already said they were going to do that.
Yeah,
They
going to do that.
already said they're going to move him up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can't make the weight.
It's happened so many times over the last couple of years. Where
Yeah, it has.
There's no point in making him squeeze down anymore to 160. So that's good to hear. It's disappointing that Virgil Ortiz didn't get to fight this weekend. I was looking forward to seeing him go out there and shine. It's disappointing that the New York Athletic Commission decided that because he got LASIK a couple of months ago that all of a sudden he wasn't allowed to step into the ring and fight, which I find kind of interesting because I could have sworn there was another fighter. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been someone in the PBC realm who had LASIK a couple of months before their fight, and they were allowed to fight on the card when their fight came up. So I find it pretty interesting that they said that Virgil Ortiz couldn't fight because of LASIK surgery, but it is what it is with that. Real quick on the Gilberto Ramirez, I like the guy. He's a good fighter, and he's an honest fighter, and he gives he tries to give a good performance as much as the next guy. But it's really been disappointing watching him be a champion at 168 just because of the fact that Top Rank has been so reluctant to match him with anybody who has a belt. Granted, they're not going to try to match him with Benavidez or maybe even DeGale when he has a belt. But at this point, there were two guys out there in that division they could have legitimately tried to make a deal with to get him unification fights in either Callum Smith or Jose Uzcategui. And it's pretty disappointing that neither one was able to come to fruition. And now
the problem you have, Nacho, is Bob doesn't want to work with anybody. He wants to keep everything sort of in house.
Yeah, but all the promoters are like that. That's not fair because all the promoters are like that.
No, I know that, Eric, but Bob tries to do that as often as he can.
Well, so does Oscar.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Well, Bob complains about not being able to fight those PBC guys all the time, though. He always wants to fight those PBC guys.
Right.
So.
So it's really disappointing to not see him, get some kind of name recognition on his ledger other than beating Arthur Abraham and Jesse Hart.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a very indistinguished run at 168. And him moving up to 75 without having made that's going to kind of hurt him in the long run when his career is over because people will say, well, he won a title, but he didn't really beat anybody when he had the title. In that
that's
class.
true. That's true.
Yeah. So it's just disappointing to see that they couldn't try to make at least one, if not two, unification fights before he, walked away from the division. And I guess we'll see what he looks like at 175 if he's moving up to 175 next. I'm not sure if they should give him the nail right away. I think you need to let him.
He's going to have to acclimate. Yeah, he's going to have to acclimate to 175.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if he got the nail right now, the nail would drive a nail into the coffin, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, guys, I heard you guys talking about, or I heard one of the callers bring it up. Has it been confirmed that Monroe is out of the fight?
No, it's not been confirmed yet. He tested positive for testosterone, elevated levels of testosterone, so he will not. The speculation is that Matt Korobov is going to take that slot. It has not been announced yet. I don't believe it's official yet, but it's looking more and more like Willie Monroe will not be fighting next Saturday. It will be Charlo versus Korobov.
Okay, well, to me, that's an even easier fight for Charlo, to be honest, because Matt Korobov, as much hype as he got when he was a top rank, he had his one shot to try to win a belt against Andy Lee, who is a decent fighter, but he's not a future Hall of Famer, and he couldn't even beat Andy Lee. So that's kind of that's kind of an indictment on what Matt Kobarov is at this point. So
Yeah.
I really don't see him being that much better at 160 against Charlo at this point. So it's another soft touch for Charlo, and we'll hear after the fight out he's going to call everybody out under the sun, knowing that they're never going to make any of those fights with Golovkin or Canelo or whoever else is outside of the PBC realm that he could fight at 160.
Well, don't forget, Demetrius Andrade has a title, and I don't know if he's still affiliated with PBC or not. So.
Well, no, he's not, Robbie. He's technically with DAZN.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
I saw an article a couple of days ago where Eddie Hearn's already lining up his next fight. He's supposed to be fighting.
He's fighting some Russian dude. Yeah, the Russian. It's just such a lousy card he's on. It just sucks. Yeah, he's fighting some Russian guy. I don't even remember the name, but it could have been our train wreck of the week. It's awful. All right, Nacho, we're gonna get moving here.
See you later, Nacho.
All right.
Very limited time here. 937. I believe this is Wood. Wood.
Yes, it's
What's
Wood.
the word?
Hello, Wood.
Hey, what's up? Good evening, fellas.
How are you?
How are you?
Not bad. I just was going to 2 callers ago, man. That dude was pretty awesome, man. If I could get his contact information, I'm looking for a co-host for my podcast. But I was picking up everything he was saying, and that's kind of some of the stuff, the conversations I've been trying to have on my channel.
Who was it? Who do you remember who it was?
I don't even know. I didn't get his name.
Was it
Are
Stockton?
you talking about Fight Doctor or the guy from Stockton?
The guy from Stockton.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
we'll grab him.
I believe his name is Paul. Huh?
I mean, I'm just joking, but I'm just saying I thought he made a lot of sense, and like I said, it's kind of some of the stuff I've been trying to talk about. But
Right.
I think where Fight Doctor was going, and I put it in the chat, but I don't know if anybody caught it or whatever. But in listening to a bunch of breakdowns after the fight, and listening to certain schools of thought that I didn't even know was really on YouTube until like the last month or so. But it seems like the folks that rolled heavy with Wilder, if you gave Wilder that first round, man, I think you gave him the fight. From the rest of the way on.
You got a point.
Those people, I mean, if you appreciated, if you just totally disregarded all of his wildness and misses and all of the swinging and just completely favored him just being aggressive, whether it was effective or not, if you just disregarded Tyson Fury's boxing, then you were going to give that fight to Wilder because it basically played out the way that some of us thought it would play out.
Right.
Some of us just thought that it was going to end in a knockout. I had it like 9th round knockout was my prediction, but I said if it went the distance, I thought Tyson was going to have a chance to win it. But I just feel like I listened to some people through their first 4 or 5 rounds, and a lot of cats had 4 rounds to Wilder or 5 rounds to Wilder, and I'm just like, we can't be this far off. We can't be this far off in what the hell we're watching, and we can't go back and change the scoring criteria. But people just favor what they favor, man. So I was kind of just resigned to the fact that at the end of the day, maybe a draw was fair because this is the state of boxing.
Yeah, I've watched it 3 times so far, and I cannot come up with a different scorecard than what I had the first time around. There's no way I could change any of my rounds. I just can't see it any other way.
I'm with you. I mean, I couldn't. I didn't get to score the fight because I watched it at the theater, and it was dark, so I was keeping some notes in my phone more than really scoring the fight.
Right.
This is one thing, and I was gonna do a video on it, and then it kind of got far away from it now. Maybe it makes no sense, and this isn't nothing groundbreaking, but just like my man was from Stockton was just trying to kind of help us out a little bit. I'm just wondering for everybody that scores fights, are we sitting at home scoring fights with a running total all 12 rounds written out, where you're going from round to round and you're writing what your score is.
No, it's an app that we use. It's an app that we use. I'm sure like 90% of the people score it like that. What's that?
If you're the school of people that have an app and you're doing it that way, then maybe this isn't an issue. But for me, I'm writing on paper. I'm writing on paper. But if you sit there and you get into 4 or 5 rounds or 3 rounds, if you even get to 3 rounds, do you start questioning yourself if the other fighter, don't you start giving them the benefit of the doubt? Well, damn, he couldn't have lost 3 or 4 rounds in a row.
No, I don't.
No.
I just score rounds. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I get like I was watching Gilberto Ramirez versus Jesse Hart this afternoon, and I was scoring it. And I had no problem giving Gilberto Ramirez the first 7 rounds. I just didn't. I know other people didn't, but I thought Gilberto Ramirez was winning the rounds. But I know what you're saying, because sometimes what people do is they go out of their way to look for rounds to give to a guy that's losing badly.
Do the podcast every week. Right. Excuse me?
I said sometimes what people do is they go out of their way when they see a guy winning so many rounds in a row. They try to look for rounds to give to the other guy, and if he's doing a little bit better than he did in the previous round, then they may give him a round. I don't know. I've heard people say that before.
That's where I was going with it. But I'm saying you guys, you don't fall into that because you guys have a show to do. People can come on here and criticize what you're talking about. You guys are kind of pressured into trying to keep it more along the lines of what's going on. But I'm talking about all of it with this fight bringing in so many different, a lot of casuals. And I had a female come on my page because I said that because I thought Fury won it, and she had nothing but the knockdowns and called me all out of my name and everything, and I'm a Wilder hater. And I'm like, the only thing you're bringing to this discussion is the fact that it was 2 knockdowns. Well, I didn't even say nothing back to her.
Right.
But I'm just saying this is the type of fight that brings a lot of different people from a lot of different walks into it. And it just gets messy. So like I said, I guess for me, I was with Beeb and I think Eric. I couldn't find a 5th round for Wilder in the fight. And it's just sad because I feel like the discussion following the fight really does a disservice to the action that we saw in the ring, and that those guys put it on the line the way that they did. And then once we got into the all of the interpretations of a 10 count and what Jack Reese was an all-world referee before the fight, and by the 12th and after the 12th round they want to kick the dude out of boxing or something. So it's just a mess, man. And like my man from Stockton was saying earlier, it's just kind of unfortunate, man, because as soon as a fight ends, as soon as most fights end, before the guys get the gloves cut off of them, we're already moving on to the next challenge for the fighter, or what our next expectation is, or what next they need to prove to us. And I'm with him. Like, we're already trying to do the promoter's job for him and everything, and it's just out of control, man.
Yeah. But as I was trying to explain to him, Wood, since we do a show every week, we got to talk about all that stuff because you can't ignore it,
Agree.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here. It was one other thing I thought about. Well, any thoughts on maybe the UB? I don't know if you Eric or Robbie, I guess. Any thoughts on they're trying to step the kid up, the Joshua Greer Jr. kid. He was on the ESPN Plus action the other night, and the kid seems like he's really developing and becoming a pretty sharp fighter. But it just seems like since he's moved over from Showtime and going in the direction that Top Rank has him in, I'm just wondering what's your guys' thoughts on his development.
I'll take a close look at him. I really didn't take a close look at him, to be honest with you.
I didn't catch him either. Let me ask you, Wood, what do you think of Santino Turnbow and Ajagba next week?
Did you see Turnbow get decapitated by the Cassius kid?
Yeah, I sure did.
Actually, I heard
that he wasn't really training. Somebody mentioned to me that he had gotten a better job or something and was kind of moving on.
Oh, for real?
He was already 32, 33 years old.
Right.
And he was more of a cruiserweight than a heavyweight. And I'm just a little fearful, man, that if he's just taking these fights because it's a chance to be on TV or in front of a bigger audience or whatever, you know, if he's not really putting the time in the gym,
it's going to be tough for him.
A guy like a jog block could really hurt that cat.
Yeah,
well,
I don't want to see him.
Now we understand why Curtis Harper just walked out of the ring and didn't even bother to fight him. It's like,
well, I just don't want to see anything happen to him. You know what I mean? I know he's definitely, you know, he's not winning that fight. You know, I just hope he's not seriously hurting that fight. You know, that's a bad one for him.
Yep.
He's an ambitious guy, and I think he has some decent skills, but I mean, he got such a late start.
Right.
And like I said, if you're not training regularly, if you are working, I mean, it's very difficult. It's difficult as hell as it is already. And then, like I said, to go out and face a guy like Jagbar with all of his advantages going into that fight, I hope that his corner has the towel nearby, and that they don't allow him to get hurt. Yeah.
All right, Wood.
Just for us locally, Eric, a decent card in Columbus next weekend. I'm surprised Marcus, Ohio Runs Boxing, if he didn't call in, but it's a pretty decent card with the Conwell kid on.
Oh, Charles Conwell, yeah. Yeah, Charles Conwell.
Yeah. He's headlining.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye out for that, man. Hey, where can we find you, Wood?
Hey, man, I'm just trying to do my thing on my YouTube channel. You know, I'm doing the Bite Down Boxing content over there on a separate playlist. And, you know, like I said, I'm not really getting caught up in the promotional beefs, the TV stuff, the fight purses, the audience sizes, ticket sales, and all that stuff. Really just trying to focus on the fights, man. So, you know, if that's something that you might have an interest in, come over there and check me out. I'd appreciate it.
Love it, man. Love it. I saw your last video, man. It was very good. Good stuff over there. All right, Wood.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, last call of the night. Last call of the night.
From this day, you'll be my new food.
Whoa!
Georgie.
Whoa!
Hey, what's happening, people?
What's happening, people?
Not much.
Listen, great show tonight, guys.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Nacho. I mean, everybody, a beautiful fucking show. Can't ask for anything more. Perfect.
Thank you.
Good.
Now let's go to the fucking bottom fucking line here. There must be, listen, there must be a line here drawing the sign. There is no way that as a boxing fan, we're going to allow anybody coming here and saying that Wilder won. Are we in agreement here?
No, he did not win. We know that.
I mean, baby, because we cannot appreciate, listen, shout out to Hand Raps, love you, brother. And like, you know, the previous caller said, we have to like open our minds to different ways of thought, you know, and share other people's points of view. But God the fucking damn, if you don't appreciate the ring generalship that Fury did, and the way he made Wilder miss, and how he put fucking pause on Wilder too. I didn't give Wilder more than 2 rounds, maybe a 3rd round, maybe a questionable 3rd round. And we're gonna have people keep coming here saying that Wilder won.
Did anybody say? I don't think anybody said Wilder won, though. I think their comment was it wasn't a robbery.
Hand Raps was the only person that I know that had Wilder winning this fight, and then Tevin
pretty adamant about it. But I think Hand Raps is a Wilder. Isn't Hand Raps a Wilder fan though?
Yeah, I think he is.
I know he's a Pacquiao guy and he's a Canelo guy.
Yeah.
Hand Raps.
That's okay, man. That's okay. I mean, however he saw the fight, it's all right.
No, fuck that, Eric. Let me burn. Let me
What's the matter with
baby.
you?
Let me rock. Now listen, shout out to hand rapping, everybody who got Wilder winning or whatnot. But
Yeah, all the 2 or 3 people in the world that had Wilder winning. Shout out to them.
appreciate the sweet science a little more, man.
You got it, man.
Fucking please people to fuck up. It's like bringing the conversation so down that you don't even want to talk about it. Now let's talk about the UK. Shout out to the UK. Listen, Rocky's filth. That nigga ain't shit.
Oh, wow.
This is what the WBA with these goddamn. What do you mean, wow? Wow.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Burn.
Garbage. Listen, man. How this man can be called a world champion?
Wow.
Doggy, I'm 44, and I don't even lace them up. And I say I put hands on this cat. I bet you these people walking around.
Come on,
I'm talking
man.
about like cat. I'm telling you.
Come on, man. Wow. Come on.
This is out of control now, Eric.
Go that deep on Fielding, man. Come on.
Now he's saying the guy at Walmart behind the register can take out Rocky Fielding.
Unless it's Bobby Chaz, I don't want to hear that talk.
Wow. Wow. Saying the guy at Toys R Us, man, can take out freaking Rocky Fielding. Guy stocking shelves at freaking the guys. He's saying the guy stocking shelves at Market Basket can turn around and give Rocky Fielding a left hook and take him out. Can you imagine what he's saying?
No, the dude is real, man. This is why the UK and the European bomb fucking narrowly star. This is how all these stars are about the respecting European fighters, and because they put these people with these fucking holding a fucking world title. These men outrageous.
Well, he don't hold no title no more. He got it taken away last night.
Robbie, please.
Fucking dude, that thing was fucking at his crazy. Yo, talking about his crazy. When the Charlo sister gonna fight somebody with a pulse, man? That shit. How come Jason don't talk about that shit? Jason, go back in, Jason. Seriously, man.
We gave Jason a rough time tonight. I gotta be honest.
What happened with Willie? We
Popped.
Out with coke too.
Yeah,
Pete Hot.
He popped out with testosterone, man.
Testosterone, man.
Who popped out with the coke?
Oh man, we got that.
Somebody popped out with a coke test.
I don't know
I
about
heard that shit in the.
Who popped with a
I
coke
heard
test?
that, yeah, some Hispanic dude. I don't know who the fuck was it. Some shit like that. I heard
Georgie? Was it Georgie?
As long as it wasn't 4G, that's okay. Yo, listen, man. I can't wait to see Wilder get sit down by Fury. I think Fury gonna go with AJ, the big money, and Wilder go back to whatever the fuck he was doing before. What you guys think?
I don't know, man. I think either fight is a bigger fight money wise. Whoever fights AJ is the bigger fight money wise. You know what I mean? As opposed to if they fall.
Hold on. Before I forget, because you know they be fucking hacking Georgian shit. Listen.
Say what?
The supporters. You know they be hacking my calls and shit before I drop off. Listen. Wilder supporters, please appreciate that without the UK, there was no pay-per-view. Let that shit sink on your fucking brain somewhere. Without the UK, listen, before AJ show up in the fucking scene, nobody give a fuck about no Wilder. Few hardcores. And I'm lying.
No.
And I'm fucking lying, people. And they don't appreciate it when you see now they're calling Wilder the king of pay-per-view. What? So if there is nobody in the desert and I show fucking up, then I'm the king of the desert.
Hey, just remember, Georgie. Just remember, Georgie. The next pay-per-view, Manny Pacquiao, Adrian Broner. So there you go.
What's that gonna do? How many pay-per-views is that going to sell?
200,000.
200,000, right?
What sells more, that or the Chuck Liddell Tito Ortiz fight?
Oh my God.
30,000.
Beeb.
Yes, sir.
My Beeb, go ahead.
No, good.
What happened with the number? What happened with the numbers with the Fury Wilder pay-per-view? That shit show ended up being they got the final numbers or what?
I think it's what 325, right?
They haven't really released final numbers.
But the speculation is 325. That's the number I keep hearing. So
why won't they just release a number?
Man, we won't never gonna find out. Another fucking bunch of lies from Temple lies from this guy.
yeah, you're never gonna figure it out.
Listen, man, this is the thing right here, bro. That we back on this fucking Hanson wheel, and then people don't want it. We gotta talk about this goddamn mafia. Fuck the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman, Al Heyman, and the rest of the conglomerate of Flores Combaggery. Fucking WBA having somebody there. Raffia, world champion. Motherfucker, please.
The WBA is a fucking idiot.
Oh my God. Well said, Robbie. Well said. Listen, I gotta go.
All right, see you, Georgie.
Shout out to Title Town.
Yeah, baby.
Town. Shout out to the
Title Town, son.
to the USA, to the
Ohio,
world.
son.
These people that come up. Yeah, I'm outie.
All right, Georgie.
Boston in the house, baby.
You said Ohio in the house? I agree. I agree, baby.
Greentown, daddy.
All right, so let's go to the news and rumors real quick. We're going to zip through these because, me and Beeb got real jobs, guys.
Got to get up in the morning.
All night. PBC signs with ITV. PBC and ITV have come to a deal that will show 15 PBC events a year. ITV is the biggest commercial broadcaster in the UK. It's kind of like the Fox deal is here almost, I think, right?
Okay.
Yep, similar.
Let's see here. The World Boxing Super Series, Richard Schaefer has said they are working behind the scenes to get the problem solved and should be announcing dates and venues very soon. So there you go.
Awesome.
Oscar and Dana get into it. Dana White went on First Take on ESPN and blasted Oscar De La Hoya, ripping him for making the Chuck and Tito fight, and then taking him to task about saying, Oscar said that Dana doesn't pay his fighters. Oscar then came back and challenged Dana to a 3-round fight. So
I see.
Oscar is clearly on something because people on Pure Air just don't act like this. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's the news. Go ahead.
One other thing before we get out of here, Eric, do we have any updates on Adonis Stevenson?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
All right, that'll do it.
Remember, guys, keep him in thoughts and prayers until we get an update, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at
773-572-7781, and that will be the permanent number, Eric.
There you go, and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. On Twitter, I'm at Ringside73, and we will see you next week.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
Where did that